Full screen?
Okay, let me just do a full screen of our topic for today. Okay, hi everyone. Good, beautiful Sunday. My name is Coach Darwin, and you are again watching an episode of the HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay, Iba Pa. We're now at episode 62. Today is September 26th, and as advertised through our pages, we have two special guests today. We have Attorney Erwin Zagala and Attorney Ramon Ramirez, who will be discussing about the intricacies of labor relations. They'll be focusing on employee discipline made easy, and also they will be teaching us the proper way on how to make an effective NTE and NOD. So please watch, make sure that you watch, stay tuned, and also invite all your friends to view us here live at the Philippines HR Group. So, welcome to the HR Cafe, Trabaho, Buhay, Iba Pa. We are an online talk show program. And as mentioned, the HR Cafe is sponsored by the Philippines HR Group. The Philippines HR Group is one of the largest online community of HR and HR aligned professionals with over 260,000 members to date.
Can we make it full screen?
Yep, oh, what happened? Is it
Yeah.
that full screen, dear?
Yeah,
Let me just
full
check.
screen natin. Full screen
Is it full
natin.
screen now?
Not yet, not yet.
Oh, okay. Let me just. Sorry, guys. We're live, and I'm sure we're having some technical difficulties. Hmm. Let me
All
just
right.
fix this. I don't know what's happening. Let me just correct this slides.
So we have watching with us live. We have quite a few people all over. We do have Edison Andamo. Welcome back, Edison. Good afternoon daw sa ating dalawa. We do, and he's watching from Las Piñas. Dong Putupolano is saying good day, everyone. Jeremy Lynn Barion is watching from Iloilo. And we do have a few people, Michael Marteja, Ato Yabot, Christopher Taginood, Norque Salasad, Sultan Glenn Barrios, and Mary Ann. Ann Scree says, good afternoon, everyone. And Apple de Mesa says, have a wonderful Sunday, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity of being part of the HR Cafe. All right, back to you, Tar.
Okay. Yes, I hope that this would work. Let me just again try to share my screen once more. Please do tell me if it's already on full screen. It is.
Yeah, not yet, pa. So we have to do full screen lang.
Is it? It's full screen on my end. What's happening? Let me just check. How about this one? Matartina, is it full screen already?
Wala pa, wala pa.
Okay. Sincere apologies, guys. Iba talaga pag naka-live show tayo. Let me just do it again.
Mhm. Ako, let me do it from my end.
Yes, yes,
Teka, ha?
please. Last na to. Can you see my screen? Nako, Mentor Tina, mukhang I'm definitely challenged ngayon sa aking laptop. Maybe you can share yours? Okay, I'm not sure if Mentor Tina has been out. Good, beautiful afternoon to Hannah Abiniles. Thank you for facilitating such topic. Watching from Quezon City, Alan Rasco. Shout out from Lucena. Rial Joanna, blessed afternoon from Santa Mesa. Mary Jane Rete, good afternoon po, Coach. Okay, let's just wait a few more um, seconds and we'll sure to have Mentor Tina back. Let me just check. I'll be sharing my screen. Guys, if you are able to see my screen, please um tell me. Let me just give you a sec. Nako, I don't know what's happening. We're having some technical issues now. Mentor Tina, welcome
All
back.
right. Back. Sige. All right,
Okay,
let's do it.
you'll do the you'll do
Yeah,
the
I'll do it. Sige, go.
okay. Again, part two, guys. We have more than 100 people watching right now. My name is Coach Darwin Rivers, and welcome to the HR Cafe. We are your HR Cafe servers. I'm Coach Darwin. I'm the head and founder of the Philippines HR Group. I'm a certified life coach, a public speaker, motivational speaker, and an HR consultant. Currently, I'm working as a vice president for HR in a BPO company. And together with me for today is none other than Mentor Tina Coang. Mentor Tina Coang is an operations and HR leader with broad local and overseas experience. She's a general manager of a retail company and most famous to be an online content creator and blogger of tinainmanila.com. Unfortunately, mentor Rodel Ferentino and mentor John Burns Ordonez won't be able to join us, but I'm sure those two mentors will be joining us in our next episodes. So, again, we welcome you to the HR Cafe. Here at the HR Cafe, we provide timely news and updates. We impart knowledge and experience that are value adding and beneficial to you, our audience. We also discuss problems, issues, and challenges, and provide answers and resolutions to the help of our guest resource. We discuss new technology, tools and processes, as well as industry's best practice para naman we are able to know ano ba yung mga best practices ngayon across industries, di ba? If you have any job openings, we welcome you to please mention it at the comment section and we'll be happy to announce it because HR Cafe is also a virtual job board and we will be happy to announce any job-related announcement. Lalo na ngayon na marami nangangailangan ng
Mm.
trabaho, we connect employers and employees. We bridge understanding between employers and employees and we provide inspiration and motivation. That's the goal of the HR Cafe. So welcome to the HR Cafe. Now, we normally start our program for all of those people who have been with us, supporting us for more than 1 year now here at the HR
Mm.
Cafe program. We start with the wow quote for the week. And our wow quote for the week for today comes from Jim Ron. According to
Mm.
Jim, discipline is a bridge between goals and accomplishments. Let me just repeat that. Discipline is a bridge between goals and accomplishments. Mga mahal namin tagapakinig at taga-subaybay, how does this particular quote resonates to you? Anong ibig sabihin ng quote na to? Our wow quote for the week. Paano nyo ito nai-interpret sa buhay ninyo? Please share it to us para mabasa po namin at ma-share namin ang inyong mga thoughts about our wow quote for the week. But before that, let's go to Mentor Tina for her own interpretation of our wow quote for the week.
Thank you so much, Darwin. And I will also welcome everybody to also share their views on the Wow Quote of the Week. Sa akin, when we come out from our mother's wombs, okay, there's a very natural essence on how we do things talaga. Discipline is actually learned. It's taught to us. Okay? In life, we have to learn how to discipline ourselves. Na, for example, bakit tayo kumakain at 12 o'clock? At why don't we eat at 3 o'clock? Why don't we eat at 7 o'clock? Why do we go to school? Why do we go to work? What after we get money, where do we actually put that money in? Do we save it or do we spend it on Lazada or Shopee sale, right? Discipline talaga is that bridge between goals and achievement. if you want something, it's very easy for people to want something, diba? We all have dreams, but it's actually the discipline to work for it, work at it step by step that makes these dreams achievable. Kasi kung hindi mo siya, if you don't exert effort, time, sweat, and tears onto achieving your goals, even if you accomplish it, mawawala din yan sa'yo. That is what happens when people actually win the lottery, right? Or for example, nakakuha ng inheritance, maraming pera. Or for example, when people who are voted into public office and who don't deserve it, if you do not have the discipline, eventually you will not be able to keep it. That's the reason why a lot of lottery winners turn out to be bankrupt and homeless years after, siguro months or years after they won the contest, right? Because yun nga, it is actually the discipline that differs a person between what is truly and successful and reliably successful than somebody who is not, na naswertehan lang. Kaya nga sinasabi nila, maraming tao ang swerte. Pero ang taong lang masipag at may disiplina ang nakaka-save at nakaka-keep ng swerte. Right? And we should learn how to to discipline ourselves, not just at work, but also with our money management skills and even our family life. Right? Kasi ang dali-dali lang tayo makipag-away sa ibang tao, sa asawa natin, right? It takes a lot of discipline and self-constraint not to lose our temper. But remember, somebody who is rational and does things step by step will go farther in life than somebody who just does whatever his heart was and bahala na si Batman. How about you, Coach Darwin?
Okay, before yes, I fully agree with what you've said, Mentor Tina. Discipline is something that we really need to have in our daily lives for us to be able to go somewhere, for us to be able to achieve whatever we are targeting in life. But let me just, before I share my thoughts, i-share ko lang itong sinabi ng isang Facebook user natin. Sabi niya, discipline makes you who you are, it defines who you are. So,
Mm,
ulitin ko, discipline makes who you are, it also defines who you are. Para naman po sa akin, discipline is a tool that you should always have, and it should also be part of your behavior, of your daily actions in your daily life. Because it's like exercise. Ang discipline po kasi, it's like building your mental, emotional, and psychological muscles to be able to be ready to achieve your accomplishments. Di ba,
mm,
according to research, sinasabi nila, for you to be able to achieve something, you need to have discipline. And discipline comes after 21 days of doing the same thing
correct.
over and
That's
over
right.
and over. So if you really would like to be disciplined, ang sekreto lang dyan is simulan mo siya ng 21 days. Kung ang goal mo is mag-exercise, dapat gawin mo siya every on a specific hour on a specific date, gawin mo siya every day for 21 days. And hindi mo dapat titigilan. Kasi when you build that 21 days, you build discipline. Tuloy-tuloy na siya. So if you are like, for example, your goal is for you to be able to achieve your career goals at a certain age at meron na kayong plan, ano yung mga gagawin mo? How would you discipline yourself to achieve your dreams? Will you be able to allot time every day to
Mm,
read more about labor laws? Do you need,
mm,
will you allot time to read more about human resource best practices? Diba? Or if you're achieving to build a house, to buy a car or whatnot, you should do it in 21 days na naghuhulog kayo, nagsisave kayo. Kasi hanggang mag-over yung 21 days, magiging part na yun ng habit. Building habit is building discipline. And if you are able to build a good and positive discipline, then definitely you will achieve whatever goals that you have in life. Okay,
all right.
according to Edison Andamo, ano lang, share ko lang din yung sinabi niya. Discipline makes you focus on accomplishing goals geared to accomplishment. Sabi naman ni Mary Retic, for me, coach, if an individual have goals in his or her life, we need to set our mind and heart in our goals. If individual have discipline, accomplishments follows. Ulitin ko yun na if an individual have discipline, then accomplishment follows. And blessings comes and the blessing na kaya nating i-handle properly. Okay. Any feedback from your end, Mentor Tina, from our audience?
Sabi niya, there's a lot of people who are just happy to be here and was watching in different parts of the country. So we'll move.
Okay, before we move, may nag-post ng kanilang job opening. Squid Pay is
Squid
looking for HR
Day.
assistant. Able to work in the TCAS, can do all facets of HR. Grabe naman, HR
I
assistant,
love
pero
the name.
can do
Yeah.
all facets in HR.
Trending
So,
ngayon yan. Correct.
correct. Nangangailangan po ang Squid Pay ng HR assistant. Recruitment background is a plus. Please send your CV to glady.manahan@squid.ph. Yan.
Mm.
Sabi ko naman sa inyo, we are a job board, so you'll be able to announce any job opportunities.
We have a sharing from Yobu Abad. Discipline is what keeps us productive day in and day out. That is true.
Okay, so
Right?
let's go to our HR questions for the week. Nako, ito, ilang beses ko na itong na-encounter, lalo na sa mga newbie ERLR. Kasi ang nangyayari minsan, di ba, pag nagkakaroon ng violation or infraction ng isang tao, what we do is, we make sure we have an incident report and then we create the NTE. Siyempre, binibigay natin yung NTE dun sa sa empleyado. Sa empleyado, ayaw niyang pirmahan yung NTE. Tapos si HR, hindi niya alam kung anong gagawin. Nako, paano to, boss? Hindi pinirmahan yung NTE, hindi niya ni-receive. Hindi sinasabing employee, he doesn't agree with the content of the NTE and the incident report, and he does not want to sign it. Ano ba yung gagawin pag ayaw pirmahan ni employee or refuse to receive or sign his or her NTE or NOD? Now, for me, ako muna, if this happens, you need to do, first, what you need to do is indicate on the NTE itself that the employee refused to sign and refused to receive the NTE. Papirmahin mo siya na nag-refuse siyang sign and receive the NTE. Second is, you need to find a person on the same rank. Kailangan, empleyado din ng kumpanya nyo, the same rank as him or her, na pipirma na magbu-witness. Na hindi talaga at ayaw talagang pirmahan ng employee yung NTE. Normally, ang nakakatawa sa mga HR, ang ginagawa nila, pag sinabing same rank, halimbawa, rank and file yung employee, hahanap din ng HR na rank and file para mag-witness. Dapat hindi ganon. Dapat ako, for me, although wala naman sinasabi na hindi pwede yon, ako mas maganda kung ang hanapin yung witness is someone in the same department as the employee is. Bilang witness na ayaw talagang pirma or mag-sign at mag-receive ng NTE or NOD ng employee. So that's where I'm coming from. How about you, Mentor Tina?
All right. I'd like to emphasize when you make a notice to explain, you start first by making the correct notice to explain, which I think
Correct.
Attorney Erwin will talk about later. You cannot just say, this offense happened. Please explain. Okay? The notice to explain must contain full details of the incident itself, date, time, sinong kasama, what was the actual offense that was disobeyed, what is the consequence of that offense, right? And what is the result if the offense was ignored? So, for example, if the NTE, this is the NTE, these are the details of the offenses, these are the rules that you've not followed, and this is a terminable offense, right? So we're giving you 5 days to explain your side, right? Failure to actually explain your side means that you waive your right to defend yourself because of your refusal to defend to actually give your point, give your side, right? So when you write a good NTE, nauunahan mo na yung staff na kung ni-refuse niya yung isign or to give an explanation, he already waives his right to defend. Okay? Of course, kasama naman ng NTE is the invitation for administrative hearing, lalo na, for example, if you're going to terminate, right? So you also have to emphasize there in the NTE content na you have to, we will schedule an admin hearing. Please show up. You might actually bring your legal counsel to help you. If otherwise, baka we will only use the facts of the case presented to us
Correct.
if you do not appear, 'di ba? So when you give that letter to him, hindi niya alam na time bomb na pala yan. Nandun na nakasulat lahat, hindi pa niya pinansin. Pero there are some employees who like to do that. Ay, ayoko nang pansinin yan. Ay, it's so biased against me. I'm not gonna sign it anymore. That is why it's very important for you to actually prepare maybe two NTEs. Give that one NTE to him, whether or not he signs it. And the second one is kung ayaw niya, make sure that there are two witnesses who will actually write down their name there, refuse to receive the NTE, right? Refuse to receive, and then with printed name, signature, and date. So there is actual proof that the company did their part na talagang they gave the employee the opportunity to explain, and it is the employee who refused to do that. We have to
Agree.
emphasize the due process must always be followed. So after the NTE, lalo na if you're gonna terminate, please, I know it's still optional, but it will be safer to hold an administrative hearing. Pag hindi sumipot, make sure that everybody signs na hindi talaga sumipot tong tao na to before you give the notice of decision. So it's very important, lalo na pag once na the HR realizes na ayaw i-refuse, I would suggest seek legal help agad with your company lawyer. Okay, you have to be very careful talaga down to the due process. All the requirements must be done perfectly. Kaya sa mga taong parang ang bilis-bilis mag-terminate, huwag kayong magalit, huwag kayong mapikon. Follow due process lang and do things step by step. Kasi it is cheaper and better for everybody's mental health if you terminate a person properly than to do it improperly and then later on magkakaroon kayo ng isang labor case. But if you have a labor case, do not fret. So long as you did your NTE properly, follow due process, and have the guidance of your company lawyer, then you should be fine. Kasi kahit na maraming nagsasabi, maraming labor cases na pro-labor, marami pa rin mga cases na nananalo pa rin ang employer kasi they follow the proper rules of the Philippines, 'di ba? Due process talaga. 'Yun lang masasabi ko.
Agree.
Alright?
Definitely agree. It all boils down to this: proper communication to the employee
Correct.
on what the NTE is. I-explain nyo lang. NTE is notice to explain. Hindi ibig sabihin
Yes.
nito na
Guilty ka.
na na talagang binibigyan ka kaagad ng karampatang kaparusahan. Ito ay
Correct.
binibigyan ka ng pagkakataon para ibigay ang salaysay o ang
Correct.
rebuttal para dun sa violation no kung saan inaakusahan mo yung empleyado, di ba? So it's
Correct.
actually an opportunity for the employee to be heard. A lot of employees kasi takot na mabigyan ng memo, takot
Oo.
mabigyan ng NTE kasi feeling nila NTE pa lang yun ang end ng kanilang
Paalis na.
employment, di ba?
Mm.
Yun ang end ng kanilang end ng career. You really have to explain that NTE is but a documentation of
Correct.
the proper due process for the employee to know what are the allegations against him and for him to be able to give time to present his or her
Yes.
rebuttal against those
Mm.
allegations of possible violations of the code of conduct. Okay?
Alright.
So we have more than 100, almost 180 people watching us right now. Nako, mga tagapakinig, taga-subaybay ng HR Cafe, please, we have a very, very meaty discussion later on with our guest labor lawyers. And I would really encourage you to share and also tag your friends para naman po sila rin, yung mga co-HRs natin, mga co-people leaders natin, ay matuto sa episode natin for today. Okay? So
Alright.
let's proceed. Now, news from the Department of Labor and Employment. Nako, according to the latest news of Dole, they will go after the perpetrators of fake or for sale work certificate. Nakarating na po
Okay.
sa DOLE na may mga unscrupulous personalities na nagbebenta po or gumagawa ng peking certificate of involuntary separation, which is actually a requirement para ma-avail ang Social Security system benefit, di ba? Because of the current pandemic, diba, merong may binibigay sa SSS na tulong financial para sa mga nawalan ng trabaho or tinatawag nating ayuda para sa mga
Mm.
empleyado ngayong panahon ng pandemic. Na-discover po ng DOLE na may mga taong namemeke ng involuntary separation notices or certificate of involuntary separation. Binabalaan po ng DOLE na pag nahuli po kayo na nagbibigay ng peking certificate or peking or nagbebenta kayo ng work certificate, kayo po ay makukulong at may karampatang parusa na makukuha coming from DOLE. Of
I'd
course,
like to
that
add
is
lang ha, kasi a lot of employees are asking, paano kami mahuhuli ng dole na nagpepeke, right? 'Di ba? Well, before an employer can terminate an employee for authorized causes, they actually have to report it to dole online. Okay?
mm,
They just have to register na they are letting go of these people via retrenchment or redundancy or because of closure of business. And this list of people is actually placed doon sa reports.dole.gov.ph. That means, if humihingi kayo ng letter from Dole, madali nilang ma-check yon kasi nandun nakasulat yung mga pangalan ng mga empleyadong na-terminate for authorized causes. So, if you think na, ay, hindi naman alam ng Dole kasi maliit lang naman kami, may listahan po yan because
correct.
dapat the employer has to report. And if the employer's not reporting, please do so before you retrench or redundate somebody for authorized causes. Kasi later on, baka matawag kayong illegal termination because you did not report it to DOLE. You have to do it 30 days before their termination. Alright? Back to
Agree.
you, Coach Dar.
So isang paalala po para sa mga kababayan natin, wag po nating suportahan or tangkilikin yung mga nagbebenta po ng mga work certificate or yung mga namemeke ng mga certificate of involuntary separation. Kasi po pag nahuli po kayo ng
Mm.
DOLE, bukod sa hindi kayo makaka-avail nung SSS benefits nyo, kayo po ay masasangkot sa at maaring makulong dahil nga po sa paglabag niya sa batas. So
Alright?
again, do not support those unscrupulous people who are faking work certificates. Next. Now, advisory galing from the Philippine Social Security System or SSS. Pinapaalala lang po ng SSS na meron tayong ilang araw na lang, no? So today is September 26. So meron na lang po tayong 4 na araw para bayaran yung contributions ng ating mga empleyado noong nakaraang June 2021 or July 2021. Kung matatandaan nyo po, nagkaroon po ng extension because of the current pandemic. So, inalaw po ng SSS na wag po na deferred payment ang mga employers last June and July. So, pinapaalala po ng SSS, dapat po bago mag-September 30 or September 30 itself, ay mabayaran nyo na po yung hulog nyo para sa inyong mga empleyado. Lalo-lalo na sa mga taga-NCR, Iloilo City, Iloilo Province, Cagayan de Oro, Cagayan de Oro City, Gingoog City. So lahat po ng mga employees na under ng ECQ or lockdown, please make sure that you pay your employees SSS contributions for the month of June and July, and the deadline is September 30, 2021. So also, bukod sa pinag-iingat tayo ng DOLE tungkol sa mga fake na certificates, di ba? Ang SSS din po, pinag-iingat tayo sa fake na website. Kasi po, nabalitaan po ng SSS na isuplong po sa kanila na meron talagang nagsasend ng email sa mga SSS members na nagsasabi na kailangan yung i-update yung inyong SSS membership information. Sa unang tingin, ang kala nyo, SSS website talaga to at maaari nyong i-click. Pero pag kinilik nyo po siya, ito po ay isang fraudulent website na kukuha lang po ng information ninyo. So, para po makasigurado, kailangan pumunta po kayo mismo sa authorized SSS website at tignan nyo po, meron po kasi silang security measures. I-click nyo lang po yung lock key at meron po yung CAPTCHA or na para ma-indicate nyo yung at mapatunayan nyo na hindi kayo robot, di ba? Pag mag-input kayo ng CAPTCHA code. So again, pinag-iingat ng SSS na meron po naglalabasang mga fake SSS websites. So dapat po tayo mag-ingat sa panahon ng pandemya. Marami pong mga tao ang gumagawa po ng paraan para po magkapera at marami din po sa kanila ay gumagawa ng paraan na mali o hindi tama at hindi naayon sa batas. At isa na po rito ang paggawa ng mga fake certificates at fake websites. Nag-ingat po tayo. Next.
All
So,
right.
going for you, Mentor Tina, ano bang update galing sa pag-ibig?
We've always emphasized we at the PHRG group have always emphasized that regardless of what's going on, kahit na may pandemic, everybody should pay for their SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig. Ang Pag-ibig po ay may bagong pakulo. Meron po silang housing loan raffle which is open to all Pag-ibig housing loan borrowers. Pwede po kayong manalo ng up to 100,000 pesos on monthly draws, 300,000, 500,000, or 1 million on the grand draw. Okay? As what we said before, pwede namang pumasok, 'di ba? Maganda naman if you want to have a housing loan, the Pag-ibig Fund is probably one of the best places you can loan money from. And maganda lang ngayon na all the loans from August 2021 to December 2021 will be automatically joining this raffle. So sa mga taong may pandemya, may extra pera, maganda bumili na ngayon or magpa-loan kasi syempre naman 'di ba sa pandemya baka mas mababa din ang mga presyo ng mga housing ngayon, all right? Because of
Agree.
supply and demand. And then for the next, PhilHealth is already saying na parang they do have some action. There is a way for members to contact PhilHealth. If meron kayong problema, for example, and they can report it doon sa action center at philhealth.gov.ph or whistleblower at philhealth.gov.ph. Now, a lot of people are thinking, bakit ako magre-reklamo against PhilHealth kung may kadayaan kung wala naman mangyayari? But ang tanong ko sa inyo, 'pag hindi kayo nagreklamo, paano mahuhuli? At kung lahat ng tao ayaw magreklamo, that is the reason why wrongdoers are still in power. All right? So be strong.
Agree.
There is no harm to actually complain. And please inform PhilHealth kung talagang may kapahamakan and see what they can do. Give them a chance naman to correct whatever is the wrongdoing na nangyayari sa baba. Okay? Next one. Sa PhilHealth, you can also open na rin po ang PhilHealth member portal. So you can actually, hindi nyo kailangan umalis ng bahay para magparehistro ng PhilHealth at saka magbayad. You can actually create your account via memberinquiry.philhealth.gov .ph/members. I would strongly encourage na you do it na, lalo na ngayon na may pandemya sa lahat. That's still extra protection for all. Alright? And then next.
Okay, for our sponsors naman, Mentor Tina, of course, HR Cafe is being supported by our sponsors from the Philippines HR Group and the HR Cafe program. And number
Mm-hmm.
one, of course, is our friends from El Puerto Marina Beach Resort and Vacation Club. El Puerto Marina Beach Resort and Vacation Club has hotels and beach resorts in Pangasinan, in Boracay, and also soon to open in Coron, Palawan. If you are a member of the Philippines HR Group or an avid listener or a member of our HR Cafe FB page, just message El Puerto Marina Business Certification Club FB page. Tell them that you're a member of the Philippines HR Group and you are entitled to exclusive discounts and privileges from El Puerto Marina. Hindi nyo na po may tatanong, the owners of El Puerto Marina are also HR executives. So please support our fellow HRs businesses. Also, because of the partnership of the Philippines HR Group and People Matters from Singapore and India, all members of the Philippines HR Group are entitled to 25% off for all the virtual or online certification program. Ito po ay HR online certification program that a lot of 500 Fortune 500 companies are now getting. So if you would like to have your company or your team members have HR certification, please reach out to People Matters. And under the BNext program, tell them that you are a member of the Philippines HR Group. Use PHRG to get 25% or 20% off on all of their services. Next is our partnership with People Force. People Force is an HR management system, a cloud-based HR management system, and they offer timekeeping, payroll, employee engagement, talent acquisition tool, people balls tool. So if you are looking into changing or upgrading your HR management system, please reach out to People Force via Facebook, People Force HRM in Facebook, or People Force in tell them that you're a member of the Philippines HR Group, and you will be given an exclusive 14 days free trial for you to know their system and for you to appreciate how to have an cloud-based HR management system. Next is one of the newest sponsors of HR Cafe is MaxiCare. And you will be hearing more about MaxiCare's product. But right now, we are promoting Prima Gold and Prima Silver of MaxiCare. So this is the Prima Gold is a prepaid health card for senior citizens 60 years old and above. It provides unlimited availment up to 255 lab tests and diagnostics, unlimited outpatient consultations, annual ER coverage of 20,000 pesos, annual dental benefits, pre-existing conditions are covered, membership valid for 1 year. This is actually a prepaid card po ha, yung Prima Gold, it's only 12,999. And then they also have a MaxiCare Prima Silver. It costs only 4,999. It's unlimited healthcare for individuals 0 to 59 years old. It gives you unlimited availment of up to 255 lab tests and diagnostics, unlimited outpatient consultations, and annual dental benefits. If you're interested to get this postpaid or prepaid products from MaxiCare, please reach out to the FB page of MaxiCare and inform them that you're a member of the Philippines HR Group to also get special discounts. Now, if you have any questions, please make sure to put them at the main page of the Philippines HR Group. Our mentors, our moderators will be happy to approve it and also answer your questions. Again, we are a community of peers, so everyone will be able to help you on whatever questions that you would have as long as it's HR related. And also, we would also like to invite you, not if you're in Facebook or also in LinkedIn, we have a group page in LinkedIn. It's called Philippines HR Group. Also, of course, the largest community in Facebook, that our Philippines HR Group FB group page. If you also would like to watch all of the previous episodes of the HR Cafe Usapang Trabaho at Iba Pa, please like our page, the HR Cafe Usapang Trabaho at Iba Pa FB page, and you'll see and able to watch all the previous HR Cafe episodes. And we have like 61 episodes already uploaded. We've been doing this for more than a year. The purpose of the HR Cafe, as is aligned to the Philippines HR Group, is to provide you guys with free learning every week. Free learning. Wala po kayong babayaran. Manonood lang po kayo rito sa HR Cafe at magkakaroon po kayo ng valuable free learning and updates from our guests and speakers. So, if you would like to be a sponsor, tulad po ng mga sponsors namin, please reach out to me or any of the mentors. You have Mentor Tina, Mentor John, and Mentor Rona. Okay? So again, welcome to the Philippines HR Group HR Cafe program. And we're on the second part of our program, which is basically the free learning episode of the program. And for today, as promised, we have not one, but two legal luminaries in labor law. And these are Attorney Erwin Zagala and Attorney Ramon Ramirez. And they will be discussing about employee discipline made easy. And also, they will also be teaching us on how to make effective NTEs and NODs or Notice of Decision. Mga tagapakinig at mga taga-subaybay ng Philippines HR Group, right now we have almost 200 viewers and listeners. I-invite nyo po lahat ng mga HR team members nyo, lahat po ng mga kaibigan nyo, lahat ng ka-network nyo. I-share nyo po ito at itag po sila sa ating program para sila rin po ay makasali ngayon sa discussion. Kung meron po kayo mga labor questions, mamaya po after the program, sasagutin po yan ng ating mga guests.
All
Okay?
right,
So
let
let's
me introduce our
introduce.
legal guide speakers. Okay, our next speakers are two lawyers, two guapo lawyers who know that law can be difficult. But believe it or not, they also know that the law is there to help us. Okay, it's just a matter of understanding and applying the law properly in your life. And that's why they created the Legal Guide Philippines, an online company that publishes books, videos, and workshops that simplify the law to help you make better choices. Attorney Erwin Zagala and Attorney Ramon Ramirez have more than a decade of experience in the practice of law. They graduated from the UP College of Law and passed the bar in 2007, and currently they are partners in Legal Access Law Offices, a firm based in Eastwood City, Quezon City that serves SMEs and family business. Legal Guide Business Philippines has actually published 4 books, including Notary Not Included, a guide of the 7 most requested legal forms, which is a beginner's guide to legal documents. Okay, the complete employee discipline system, how to keep your employees in line without getting in trouble with dole. Napaka-importante to. Don't Let Your Hair Down, a guide to estate settlement in the Philippines, and how to choose a lawyer in the Philippines, a guide for the first time clients so that you can make the best out of a lawyer's help. They have a weekly show which is available at www.legalguide.ph. So with a deep understanding of only not only of the law but also of the Filipino people's need to understand them, they believe it is part of their duty to spread awareness and to empower people by educating them. Let us welcome Attorney Erwin Zagala and Attorney Ramon Ramirez. So happy to have them on the show. Hello, sir.
Hi.
Hey,
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Welcome to our show. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Ang daming mga topics na pwedeng I'm so glad that you decided on employee discipline, which is very important right now, especially in a pandemic na nag-aaway-away yata ang mga employees tsaka employers. Is that correct? Very interesting time.
Agreed. Attorney Erwin, Attorney Ramon, we have uh, people across Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao right now, as far as Batanes, as far as Davao City, as far as Iligan City. Nako, napakarami po nanonood right now. Almost 200 people are watching us right now on our show.
200.
No?
Ang
Mm.
dami, Atty. Ramon.
And we
Masyadong
will
marami
make
yata.
sure that this would, kaya nga sinasabi ko sa kanila, i-share po ninyo mga friends, mga taga-subaybay ng HR Cafe. Tag nyo po ang mga HR office mates nyo, ang mga people leaders nyo, mga managers nyo, para sila po ay matuto sa ating mga labor lawyers on the topic of employee discipline made easy.
Yun.
Ayan.
All
Sige,
right.
Coach
So let's
Darwin,
do it.
Coach Tina.
Yes, we'll
Actually,
give you the floor,
gusto kong
Attorney.
testingin. Gusto kong testingin yan 200 na yan na nakikinig.
Let's do
So,
it.
guys, I
So
have
we'll
a
give you a
question
floor.
for
Ah.
you
We'll give you a
guys.
floor.
I have a question for you guys. So, how many of you would like to solve labor relation problems at work? Please type me in the chat box right now. Tignan natin, ha? Tignan natin kung ilan ang lalabas. 200 daw.
No,
Attorney Ramon,
200 daw. Ayun na, meron na.
Mati-testing
Si-
natin yan.
Uy, okay.
Ayan na, meron. May mga lumalabas na.
Shell. Oh, Mary
So,
Jane.
I'm happy to see that they are responding.
Hmm.
Kasi, Attorney Ramon, alam mo, actually, HR ang kausap natin.
Okay.
And you know what HR also stands for?
Human resources.
Maliban dyan. high response.
Yun.
So inaabangan ko, dapat ang daming me dyan. Ayan na, finally.
Ayan na.
Thank
Okay.
you.
High response pala.
Yes.
Okay. Mga
Now,
HR nga kayo.
I have a question
Mm.
dun sa mga sumagot. How many of you would like to solve labor relations problems confidently and easily? Can you type in me too? Ayan, me too. Abangan natin.
Dati rin.
Me too naman. Ang gusto ko
Me
makita
too.
dyan.
Yan.
Puro me pa rin.
Oo.
Mabagal yata eh. Tignan natin.
High response.
Oo, ayan, me too, ayan.
Si Shell mabilis. Si
Very
Shell
good.
ang first. Oo. Hi,
So,
Shell.
if you guys type in me too, you are in the right place. Welcome to HR Cafe this afternoon, and we are so happy to be your guests for this afternoon. And we are Legal Guide Philippines, and what we do is we simplify the law to help you make better choices. Hi, my name is Atty. Erwin Zagala, and I'm with my partner.
Atty. Ramon Ramirez.
Now, well, labor relations actually, on a weekly basis, ang dami natin natatanggap ng mga questions on labor relations sa
Yes.
Ramon, di ba? And I think it's undisputable na marami talagang nagtatanong about labor relations. Marami kasing mga problema na pwedeng lumabas when it comes to labor relations. Labor relations, so that everybody is on the same page, it deals with violations and the disciplinary process. Basically, paano yung pakikitungo ng management sa mga employees pagdating po sa disciplinary process. Now, for most people, this process, this relationship, may tatlo ko naririnig, Atty. Ramon.
Okay, game. Ano yan?
Most people say na it can be confusing.
Yes.
Ikaw, do you agree na
Agree.
nakikita natin yun, di ba? It can be confusing. It can also be scary.
Scary.
Oo. It can also be scary. And it can also be intimidating.
True.
Now, if you guys can relate to those, can you please type relate in the chat box?
Scary, intimidating, and confusing.
Oo, tingnan natin kung
Relate ba?
nakaka-relate kayo dun sa mga pinagsasasabi. Kasi, if you guys can relate to that, we got something for you guys this
Ayan.
afternoon.
May na. Si
Yes.
Say. Oh, yan. Ang dami na.
Now, kung you find it confusing, you find it scary, you find it intimidating, I have a message for you guys. It doesn't have to be.
Yes.
May pag-asa po. And the solution to get rid of those three feelings is for you to hold a map. What's the word? A map. Diba? Can you type that down? A map.
Map.
Mapa po. Mapa.
Mm.
Map. Tignan natin sa chat box kung naririnig nila tayo. Can you type in a map? So, a
Ayan na.
map will be
Si
able...
Ann Flores ang nauna.
Ayan. Akala ni Ann Flores parang may premyo to, no? Ang bilis mag-type eh. But we appreciate fast typers.
Yes.
Sige. So a map will be able to get rid of confusion, fear, and intimidation. Why? What does a map do, Atty. Ramon?
It allows me to know where I am and where I want to go.
Those are two very important points. Where you are and where you want to be. So, pagdating kasi sa employee discipline, lalo na sa mga baguhan, di ba? Nasaan na ba tayo sa proseso? Ano na ba yung gagawin? Ano ba yung dapat na susunod dito? Ayan na, doon pumapasok yung confusion, doon pumapasok yung takot, and doon pumapasok yung intimidation. So, what we have prepared for this afternoon, it's suitable for two kinds of people. How many? Two. Ayan. So the first group of people who will benefit a lot from this is yung mga newbies natin. So meron ba tayong mga HR newbies dyan? I want to see you in the chat box. Kung newbie ka, newbie being defined as 1 year or less sa HR. Kumbaga, pwedeng fresh grad or pwedeng galing sa ibang department and then biglang nilipat ng HR. Or dati hindi naman HR or hindi ganun ka-significant yung role, biglang na-promote. Ayan na. So meron ba tayong newbies dyan? I want you.
Yun. Si
Lemmy.
Lemmy.
Yes. Ayan, so I want you guys to shout out in the comments if you are a newbie kasi what we have in store will benefit you guys.
Ano yun?
Ay, hinihintay ko muna na mag-comment eh.
Marami,
Alam mo naman pare, kapag may comments, ginaganahan din ako magbigay.
Totoo.
So newbies, guys, let me be frank. For you to be familiar with the whole process, usually it takes years. It takes years. What we're trying to do this afternoon is try to compress the learning curve. So in this afternoon, maibigay namin sa inyo as much as we could so that you can compress the learning curve. Kahit bago kayo, you will be able to navigate.
Yes.
Walang pinagkaiba, di ba? Alala mo nung nag-Singapore tayo.
No.
Hindi naman tayo
Which
taga
time?
doon.
Oh, okay.
Nung bago mag-pandemic.
Okay.
Tapos pinatawag tayo nung ka-meeting natin sa building. Sabi para sa atin na there's a 7-Eleven in front of the bus station. Malay ko ba, hindi naman ako taga doon, di ba? But nung una, parang okay, doesn't make sense to me. Hindi ko alam kung paano kami makakarating. However, we were able to make it there. You know how? May dala kaming mapa. That's Google Maps. Ayan. So
Waze.
So kahit bago kami dun sa lugar, we were able to find our way eventually. And that's what we hope for you guys, the newbies. Kahit bago kayo sa larangang HR and labor relations, you will be able to find your way eventually using the map that we will be teaching you this afternoon. Now, the second category of people who we will be helping is the veterans.
Yan. Okay,
So,
so newbies now and veterans. as
Veterans. So yung mga veterans, I define that as being 1 year and above sa HR. So mga veterans ko, kaway-kaway naman dyan. I'd like to see you guys in the chat box right now. Mga veterans. Meron ba?
Well.
Sino kaya mas maingay, pare? Newbies o veterans? Ano
Marami
tingin
yung
mo?
newbies, ha?
Oo nga eh.
2 years but si Riza. 2 years but feeling newbie.
We'll get that sorted out, Lisa, this afternoon. After this afternoon, hopefully you feel more of being a veteran. Ayun. Pare, to be fair, maingay din yung mga
Maingay. Ito, 10
veterans.
years si Mark Anthony.
Oo.
Impressive. Angie.
Ayan. Okay, very good. Very
Idalin.
good. So,
Idalin.
So here's my message to the veterans. So for the veterans, most of these things you will already be familiar with. What I want you to do is look at it from a checklist perspective. So tignan ninyo, baka may mga mababanggit ako na bago.
Tama.
Kami ni Atty. Ramon makapag-share ng mga war stories and kwento, anecdotes, which you can then validate against what you are doing right now. Diba? So there's nothing wrong with going back to the basics. Correct, Atty. Ramon?
Absolutely. Kahit tayo, every day, no? We go back to the basics.
And every time we teach this, we actually learn something new. So for the veterans, use this opportunity to validate, lahat ba yan meron kami doon sa ginagawa namin right now? And kung sakaling may narinig na bagong idea, feel free to implement it. Does that sound good to all of you guys? Yes? So I want to talk about what we have in store for them.
Okay.
So we will be giving you guys a map. We'll be discussing a map. And we call this the Complete Discipline System Framework. And this is what we teach in our book, the Complete Employee Discipline System. Now, a number of you guys from the Philippines HR group already bought this. If you guys are part of that group, thank you so much. You might want to refer to the book. Ayan, para habang dinidiscuss, you get a deeper appreciation of what we had written down there and makita ninyo in action how it's applied. For those of you guys who have yet to buy the book, makinig na lang muna kayo. Don't worry, we'll give you a very good overview naman of everything that's going on there. Now, we will be covering 3 main categories. Before violations, during violations, and after violations. No, baka nagugulat sila. Ano? Before violations and after violations. Ang alam ko lang, Atty. Erwin, Atty. Ramon, may violation.
Ano nang gagawin ko next?
Actually, it goes beyond that. And that's the topic for this afternoon. I hope you guys are excited. If you guys are excited, I'd like to see you in the chat box. Can you please type, I'm excited? Ayan. Alam mo, Atty. Ramon,
Yes, sir.
Ako, alam ko tayong dalawa. We always strive on feedback and energy.
Absolutely.
And the more na nakikita ko yung chat box na nagwawala, mas ginaganahan ako na magbigay. Do you agree?
True, absolutely. Whether it's live or ganito.
Yan. Yan. Okay na, pwede tayong mag-proceed. Nagwawala na. Okay.
Hi, B. Vanji ulit.
Good.
Yan.
Now, okay, so before we jump into the actual module, we just have some workshop rules. I hope it's okay with you guys if we discuss some workshop rules.
Konti lang naman.
First off, everything we're going to be discussing this afternoon, please treat it as legal information and not
legal advice.
Ay, nako, Atty. Ramon, may pinagkaiba pala yung dalawa.
Meron, malaki.
Okay.
Oo.
So, legal information means we know something and we teach it to you guys.
Ito pala si Jan.
Correct? Oy, Boss Jan. How are you, Boss Jan Aliling? Again, so legal information means we know something and then we transmit it to you. Malinaw, di ba? What happens again? We transmit it to Okay. What's legal advice? Legal advice is two-way. Basically, we talk, and the law that we know, we apply it to your situation. However, for us to do that, we need to know what's going on with you. Obviously, hindi namin magawa yan ngayon kasi the information flow is one way. So, do not treat this as legal advice kasi you still have to make sure that the interpretation of the law and its suitability for your particular situation is a good fit.
Yes.
So before you apply any of this, we would recommend consult your lawyer or legal team. If your interpretation, understanding, and possible implementation is appropriate for your situation. We are not responsible. Again, we are not responsible for how you choose to implement this. Okay? So that's reminder number one. What's reminder number two? Guys, on purpose, we will be doing a fast-paced discussion, Kasi we will be compressing years of familiarity into how many minutes,
Yeah.
di ba?
Less than 1 hour na.
So my tip is hold on. Ako sakaling may tanong, just write it down, and we have a section naman later for tackling questions. But kung sakaling may mga malabo, there will be a time to clarify that later on. Okay? Then finally, tip number 3. Studies have shown participation matters a lot pagdating sa retention ng information. So my first assignment for you guys is please get pen and paper. Yeah, pen and paper. You need to take down notes kasi kahit na you guys are interfacing with us via video, there's nothing preventing you from taking down notes of things that matter. Di ba, Atty. Ramon? Tsaka kung sakaling may mga tanong kasi kayo, better write it down and then we can tackle that later. Who knows? Sinusulat pa lang ninyo, baka sinasagot na namin. Diba? So with that, I think we are ready to get started. Ikaw, Atty. Ramon.
Ready? Let's do it.
So if you guys are ready, I want to see you in the chat box. Can you type, I'm ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Oh, tingnan natin, Atty. Ramon. Basa.
Basa.
Sige. Pag wala, i-off ko na to.
Basa.
Wala?
Hindi ba?
Ayan. Meron na.
Maria.
Okay.
Sabay-sabay. Bilis eh. Okay.
So,
okay, go.
to get started, I wanted to discuss an idea with you guys. And this is something that we opened the book with. And this is the Filipino way of handling disciplinary cases here in the Philippines. Did you know, Atty. Ramon, that here in the Philippines, there are 2 general ways wherein Filipinos handle disciplinary cases?
Sige nga. What are those 2?
Sige. And I will illustrate that using 2 stories. One is yung isang kaibigan natin. Hindi ko na lang babanggitin. Pero actually, may secretary sila sa work.
Okay.
Nung pumasok kami as legal counsel, kinakausap kami nung kaibigan namin na parang, Tony, baka pwede kausapin mo naman si Ate Telma.
Okay.
Yan, yung mga nakabasa ng libro, pakitype naman dyan, Ate Telma, kilala niyo yan. So, yung kaibigan ko, pinapakiusapan yung retainer counsel.
Okay.
Tony, pakikausap naman si Ate Telma. Kasi late pumapasok pag umaga. O, ba't hindi na lang ikaw yung CEO dito, pare?
Ikaw yung boss eh.
Oo nga.
Oh.
Hindi, nakakahiya kasi bago pa ako naging CEO, nandito na yan. Pundasyon na yan dito.
Institusyon na.
Oo. Parang ikaw pa nahihiya. So kinausap ko si Ate Telma ngayon. Ate Telma, parang nagkaka-issue daw pala sa sa pagpasok mo kasi it's not setting a good example for the rest of the secretaries and assistants.
Tama naman.
Kayo po late na pumapasok. Ganun po ba, attorney? Sana kinausap na lang ako ni boss. Bakit po? Kasi, attorney, actually, lahat ng ibang assistant, nag-uwian na. Pero ako naman yung natitira. Ako yung sumasabay kay boss. Hindi ako umuwi hanggat hindi umuwi ang kliyente mo.
Okay.
Kaya anong oras umuwi yan? Mahina dyan, alas 9.
Bumabawi lang siya sa umaga.
So lahat ng ibang secretary, 5 o'clock, naka-clock out na. Ako hanggang alas 9, dito na ako naghahapunan. That's why in my mind, I didn't think it was a big deal. Kung sakaling late ako ng konti, kinabukasan.
Okay.
Oo. So sabi ko, okay. So kumbaga may logic naman pala ng pinanggagalingan. And I think ang nagkulang lang doon is yung managerial courage.
Yeah.
'Di ba?
By the CEO.
By the CEO to talk to their people. And it's indicative of the first way Filipinos deal with employee relations, which is being too soft.
Too soft.
What's the word? Too soft.
Write it
Ayan.
down, guys.
Write it down in the comments. That's the first mistake Filipinos do when it comes to employee relations. Now, Attorney Ramon, kung yung first end of the spectrum, too soft, tignan ko kung mahulaan mo naman yung sa other
Feeling
side.
ko mahuhulaan ko yan kasi smart ako eh. Okay, go.
Oh, RJ Quijano.
Hindi-
Tuso.
hindi tuso.
Hindi tuso. Too soft.
Too
malambot.
soft. Oh, masyadong malambot.
Oo.
Okay, game.
So, other end of the spectrum, ano sa tingin mo, Attorney Ramon?
Too hard.
Too hard.
Yes.
Okay. So, ito naman, magkukwento ako sa iyo, pare.
Oh, ano nangyari?
Nung kakagraduate lang natin,
Hmm.
actually, nag-apply ako sa isang law firm.
Okay.
Tapos, ang dami namin nakapila doon. And then, a few weeks later, natanggap ko yung news na hindi raw ako natanggap. Nalungkot ako, pare.
Nalungkot ka?
Oo.
Bakit? Kasi
So,
hindi ka natanggap. Oh.
So kinuwento ko sa mga natin kaibigan na upper batch na mga naunang nag-bar, so abogado na. Para hindi ako natanggap dito sa law firm.
Huwag na nating sabihin.
Oo.
Okay.
Sabi, naku pare, somebody's looking out for you sa taas. Oh, bakit? Swerte ka na hindi natanggap dyan.
Bakit?
Alam mo ba pare, yung managing partner dyan, pag may mali ka, may typo ka sa pleading mo, kailangan magaling kang umilag.
Bakit?
Namamato ng stapler.
Hindi man lang eraser, pare. No?
Stapler, pare.
grabe.
Yung binili sa National Bookstore na
Ayoko
medyo
naman
malaki. Oo. So, sabi niya, pare hindi ka ba nagtataka? Hindi nawawala yan sa job posting. Laging may opening yan. Associate lawyer. Kasi nga pare, masyadong matigas. So that's when it dawned on me. Kapag masyado ka namang matigas sa mga tao mo when it comes to labor relations, hindi rin siya sustainable. Kasi yung turnover mo napakatindi. And people will not respect you. Kasi medyo excessive yung treatment mo. So what is the solution? The way we teach it here in the employee discipline system, we have to go for a balanced way. Diba? So meron too soft, too hard, dito tayo sa gitna, the balanced way.
Balanced way.
Yan.
Parang yin and yang pala yan.
Oo.
Yin and yang. Okay.
It's the only sustainable way to run a business when it comes to employee relations. And it's also, incidentally, in accord with the labor code.
Nice.
Okay. So what I like about the balanced way is wala tayo kinikilingan. Attorney, wala. Pro empleyado. Or attorney, hirap sa inyo, puro management. No, we are pro fairness. Why? Kasi kami, when it comes to protecting employee rights, kung kailangan ibibigay namin yan. We will recommend that. Kung sakaling may kailangan pagbigyan kasi because of certain circumstances, we will recommend that. Pero at the same time, we will hold the lines and the boundaries. Kung sakaling may violation talaga and there needs to be accountability, we will insist on that. So that is the balanced way. And that's what we will be talking about.
Yes.
Ayan na. So papasok na tayo dito sa mapa.
Okay, pasok na tayo sa mapa.
The map
Start ways.
of the balanced way. Okay, now, Attorney Erwin and Attorney Ramon, when you talk about employee relations, where should we start? Sa incident report ba yan? Sa notice to explain?
Sa violation.
Ladies and gentlemen, it actually starts way before that. Kasi actually, bago pa may mangyaring violations, you're already starting to put up the foundations of a good employee discipline system. So the first category that we have is before violations. Ayan. So before violations. And here in before violations, it all starts with having a good policy.
Okay.
So Attorney Erwin, so sinasabi mo sa akin, nagsisimula lahat yan sa policy. Yes, because with the policy, you're able to spell out in no uncertain terms what you expect from your employees. And when you are clear about what constitutes good behavior, tumataas po yung probability that people will adhere to that or follow that. Kasi isipin mo to, dalawang situations. I want you to be a good employee.
What does that mean, Attorney Erwin?
Actually, nagkakagulo na, di ba?
Oo.
Na parang, kunwari, kumain ako sa desk ko. Bad yan.
Oh, kasi you leave crumbs. Oh.
Hindi ko naman na-define what being a good employee is. So, yung mga maliliit na bagay na gano'n, di ba? Or kung kunwari, don't be late.
Okay.
8:04 ako pumasok. Wala bang grace period dito?
Oh, baka may grace period ng inisip ng employee.
Kasi yung kumari ko, may grace period dun sa kabilang kumpanya.
Sa ibang kumpanya. Oh.
But since you never defined what good attendance looks like, baka magkagulo. So, good employee relations starts with good policies. And some tips po for good policies. Number one, it has to be clear. It has to be consistent.
Consistent.
And it has to be informed. Ibig sabihin ng informed, may share akong kwento.
Sige.
Ang tindi ng isang estudyante ko.
Oh.
Nagyayabang sa akin.
Okay.
Atty. Erwin, ang ganda ng ginawa kong handbook.
Okay, may handbook na.
May color-coded pa ako. Parang ganito pa eh. Parang ganito. Naka-binder pa, Atty. Erwin. Ayan. Parang mga ganito, oh. Ayan, nakaganyan. Sabi ko, yung galing mo naman. Tapos ilang pages na? 150, attorney.
Wow,
that's so impressive.
Kompleto.
Sige, buti na pamigay mo sa lahat ng mga empleyado. Ay, hindi po. Nandun lang sa HR, sa cabinet. Kasi baka madumihan eh.
Madumi.
So, guys, if you guys have policies, they have to be distributed. Kasi what's the purpose of creating good rules if only you know about them? Diba? Kailangan dinidistribute din. Okay, now, so that's for policies pagdating sa sa before violation. Now, in relation to policies, baka nag-iisip ka, Atty. Erwin, what can you say about handbooks?
Okay. Iba ba yun? Magkaiba ba yan?
Magkaiba po ba yun? And then, paano ba ginagawa? Alam ko, mahirap gawin yan eh. Yeah? So, here's my input. Totoo, mahirap naman talaga gawin ang handbook. Isang upuan, di mo kaya yan. So, if you don't have the capacity or the resources to create a handbook ng isahan, here's what I suggest. Unti-untiin natin. 1 policy a week. Kaya na?
Posible.
Sige, and then unahin mo na ng mga policies, yung mga maraming may violations.
Okay.
Kumakain sa desk, magawa mo ng policy. O inuuwi yung motor at the end of the day.
Okay.
Or ano pa ba? Late bumalik pag lunchtime. Mga maliliit na bagay, di ba? Start with those kinds of things, di ba? Now, what you don't realize is the more policies you make, actually at the end of the year, hindi mo mapapansin, how many weeks in a year?
52.
So pag inipon mo yung 52 policies na yun, ayan na, may handbook ka na.
Meron ka ng policies.
You have the beginnings of a very credible handbook kasi it arose out of your experiences with your team.
Okay.
Diba? If you guys are finding value in what we're talking about, can you please type, "That's good," in the chat box. I hope may mga natututunan kayo from what we're sharing at this point in time. If you just tuned in, basically we're saying a good employee discipline system starts way before a violation occurs. It starts before violations. And before violations, kailangan meron kang policies. Eventually, itong mga policies na to, iniipon mo into a handbook kung sakali hindi mo pa kayang gawin na isang buong yung handbook. And then, number 3 is distribution. Kailangan maganda yung distribution system mo, di ba?
Okay. Can you tell us more about the distribution, Atty. Erwin?
Actually, in distribution, a lot of people ask, Atty. Erwin, what is the required distribution method under the labor code?
Okay. Labor code, Okay.
Siyempre, di ba? Yung iba kasi dyan, pag, what's the legal basis? Ganun, di ba? So here's the thing. The distribution method will depend on how you guys operate. For some companies, lahat naman ng tao nasa isang lugar. So, a bulletin board may be a good fit. Agree?
Yep.
Paano kung remote? Papapuntay mo sa office.
May mga kumari sales agents, ganyan.
Mag-jeep ka, mag-bus ka, papunta rito sa office para silipin yung bulletin board. So, for some groups, a Viber group might be a good idea. Some of them, email. Or some of them, posibleng intranet inside a website.
Or part of yung onboarding process. Pwede rin ba yan?
Yes, definitely. But the point is, wala pong standard way of doing it. So you will have to make a decision depending on how you guys operate. What makes sense to you guys? What's the legal basis for this? This is part of the concept of management prerogative. What's the word?
Prerogative. Management prerogative.
Can you type that down? Management prerogative. Yeah, that's a very important concept. And management prerogative states that employers are given leeway by the law on how they want to run their companies in terms of operations, on how they disseminate information, how they discipline, what rules they want. Malinaw na ba yan for them, Atty. Ramon? O pwede pa natin pasimplihin din?
Pasimplihin pa natin.
Okay. Management prerogative is just another word for management rights. Yun. So, ano yung mga karapatan ng management in terms of running their business? And another way of interpreting it, ito, mas kalye pa to.
Sige.
Management diskarte. Ano yung diskarte ninyo on how you guys want to run your company? pretty much the labor code leaves it to the employers. However, of course, there are certain
May
limitations.
boundaries yan.
Doon naman papasok yung mga labor standards,
Labor
'di ba?
standards.
Hindi naman pwedeng hindi mo na pauuwiin yung mga empleyado mo or bawal mag-CR.
Magagalit ang labor code niyan.
Oo, parang pwede lang sila mag-CR end of shift. Kawawa naman, kawawa na. So management prerogative, generally speaking, you're given leeway on how you want to do that, subject to existing rules and regulations and laws.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it for before violations. I hope you guys got a lot from that. Now, talo naman tayo sa second category, which is during violations. Yan na yung alam ng mga tao.
Okay,
So kapag sinabing during violations, ano sa tingin mo unang iniisip ng mga tao?
Notice to explain.
Actually, sinabi mo na eh.
Sorry,
ipapachat ko pa sana, pare. But that's true. That's true, Atty. Ramon. For most people, ang talon kagad ng utak nila, uy, notice to explain yan. Actually, hindi. The way I recommend it. The way I recommend it to my students and my clients. During violations actually starts with, ayun na, huli ni Maria.
Congrats, Maria.
Maria Graciana. You got it. And
Alright.
it all starts with a good incident report. I actually have another name for incident reports.
Okay, what do you call it?
It's the building blocks
The building blocks
of your evidence.
Alright.
It's the building blocks of your evidence. Kasi ganito po yan. So when incident happens, the most immediate thing you can do is create an incident report around it. Now, what is a good incident report?
Okay.
A good incident report is just eyewitnesses writing down what they saw.
So may format ba yan, attorney? Na
May format
sabi,
ako na-
sabi ni labor code? Oh.
Hindi, wait. Wala ang incident report sa labor code. Wala. What we're sharing with you is best practices na. Ito po, discarding marino na to, what works in the field. And actually, I do have some tips, pero I want to see parang interesado kaya sila, Atty. Ramon.
Sige.
Tanungin natin, if you guys are interested in us giving you tips on incident reports, can you please write, tell me more in the
Okay,
chat box.
please.
Tignan natin, Atty. Ramon.
Wala
Tignan
pa.
natin. Wala?
Sino kayo mauna?
Wala? Kuha muna tayo ng merienda, pare. Walang walang sumasagot eh.
Pero yan, biglang susulpot lahat. Babagsak yan.
Ayan.
Facebook eh. So, Honey Lou.
Ayan, ako, tell me more daw. Okay, so the question is, kung sakaling may pinasa
RJ.
sa amin na incident report. Attorney Erwin, Attorney Ramon, how can you say na maganda yung incident report?
How?
There are 6 questions that tatawa ka na kagad.
Okay,
There are 6 questions na tinatanong ko sa ulo ko. And pag nasagot yung 6 questions na yon, bibigyan ko ng seal of approval. Ayos ka, bata. Maganda yung incident report. Ikaw, Attorney Ramon, tingin mo kaya mong hulaan itong 6 questions na?
Yes, I can.
Sige nga. Ay, wait.
Okay.
Tignan natin, baka alam nila.
Okay, sige, baka may
Sige
sagot
nga,
kayo.
baka may makahula. Baka may makahula dyan. Sige nga.
What are the 6 questions?
Sige nga, tignan ko. Pag may nakahula, actually, bilib ako. Or malamang nakabasa ng libro natin yun.
Or veterano.
Oo.
Tama. Ayan na, si Romano.
Okay, Romano.
Congrats, Romano.
Beler, congrats. Okay.
Romano.
So the way we gauge how an incident report is doing is if it can answer the 5 W's and the H. And that is, who was involved? Okay, so kung kunwari,
Employee.
sample lang na incident, kunwari may nagnakaw ng sachet ng coffee
Okay.
sa pantry.
Di ba libre yun?
Hindi ba? Binulsa kasi, tapos inuwi. Okay. So, anong pwedeng magandang anong magandang incident report doon? So, who was involved? Si Ate Telma.
Ate Telma.
Si Ate Telma. Ate Telma, what was seen putting coffee sachets in her bag and in her pocket?
Nako. Okay.
Surreptitiously. May ganun ba? Where? In the pantry
Okay.
of headquarters.
Okay.
When?
When?
Siguro at 4:45, just before.
Kasi uwi na siya eh. Oo.
Siyempre, kasi magkakape siya pag uwi. So, kailangan may kape, no? And then why?
Why?
Because they did not have coffee at home. The why, actually, it's kind of optional. Sometimes it's appropriate, sometimes it's not. But Kung sakaling alam nyo why, edi put it down where. And how, siguro, that's where the
Yun yung
mechanics.
surreptitiously
She slid it in her bag and then tinago po niya sa CCTV. Parang yan.
Spray na yan yung CCTV.
So, it's a funny example, but I think it gets to illustrate what a good incident report does.
Yeah,
Okay?
and I think the point here is we don't have to be too complicated about it. Just answer those basic questions and you should be good in terms of the incident report.
Yes. Now, what I recommend is, kunwari, hawak mo ng mga incident reports. What you do is you conduct an administrative investigation.
Okay.
So, may in charge ka. O sige, ipunin mo lahat ng incident reports and then you try to verify or collate. Or sakaling, may sinabi rito na nasa pantry. You try to go beyond the incident report. So, ano pa ba yung evidence na pwede kong makuha beyond this? Pantry, may CCTV yan . So, kukunin mo na ngayon. Kukunin na ni investigator yan. Now, once you do the administrative investigation, you can now do a summary report.
Okay.
Now, all of these, guys, these are best practices. You will not find this in the labor code. Diskarte na itong tinuturo namin sa inyo. Hindi siya required, pero it will make your lives so much easier if you do.
Nice.
So, ano naman ang laman ng summary report? Summary report, basically, ito po yung mga incident report. Pak, 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 pak.
Okay.
Ito po yung additional evidence. Tak, 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 tak. And ito po yung naging conclusion and recommendation. As a result of these, we recommend that a case be filed against Ate Telma for pilferage.
Okay.
By the way, pilferage is a fancy term for theft. Ayan. So, kung gusto nyo medyo saucy yung dating ninyo, pilferage.
Pilferage.
Yes.
Alright.
So, okay, so tapos na ba tayo pagdating dito? Actually, preliminary work pa lang ito pagdating sa during investigations. Kasi now, using the administrative report, you can now do a notice to explain. Ngayon pa lang
yung notice to explain.
So for most people, ang intindi nila, dito pa lang papasok. No, a lot of preparation has to go through before you can create a credible and legitimate notice to explain. Because a notice to explain is required to be comprehensive and you are required to include details enough so that the accused can present a credible defense for themselves. Kasi kung kunwari yung notice to explain mo, nakasulat lang, you did a bad thing. Please explain why you should not be given a penalty. Ano yung bad thing?
Yeah.
Di ba? So you have to be able to define ano yung mga elements ng offense. Paano nangyari? Saan?
Or kumari nagsimula with hearsay lang. And then in NTE na kagad.
May
nabalita lang pala.
Ang tawag namin doon, medyo malabnaw pa yung evidence. We wouldn't recommend doing an NTE at that point. Now, you may be seeing a pattern. Sige, so sinasabi niyo, Attorney Erwin, isulat na natin, na notice to explain, yung mga detalye. Attorney Erwin, di ba meron na tayo nun?
Meron na.
Oo, kaya nga pinapagawa ko kayo ng IR, ng investigation at saka summary report. Kasi kung ano man yung lumabas sa summary report, that's what you copy-paste papunta sa NTE. Is this making sense to you guys right now? If it is, can you type down making sense in the chat box?
In the chat box, please.
Ayan, nakikita na nila, Attorney Ramon, paunti-unti kung paano nagtatagpi-tagpi. Ayan.
And it makes your life easier na. Because you did the work up front, di ba?
Guys, all we're trying to do here is make your lives easier and trying to keep you guys safe.
Yes.
Ano, Attorney Ramon,
Okay.
marami ba na nakakasakay sa usapan
marami.
natin?
Sina Criselda, si Heide,
Si Facebook user.
hindi natin alam. Si G. Hello, G.
Marami naman pala, pare. Alam mo naman madali tayong kausap. Kapag maraming nagre-respond, marami rin tayong gustong ibigay.
Yes,
Correct?
absolutely.
Sige. So, now that you have a notice to explain, actually dadagdagan ko po yung discussion kanina with Coach Darwin and Coach Tina, wherein pinag-uusapan na, Attorney, paano naman yung notice to explain kung ayaw tanggapin? Kasi service na tayo ng notice to explain.
Okay,
diba?
kasi nasulat na yung notice to explain, ibibigay na. Marami din ako natutunan kanina.
So, I'll do a very quick crash course. Lalo na sa mga newbies, thank me later kasi this will make your lives easier. So, when serving a notice to explain, there are two kinds of scenarios. Present or not present yung kausap ninyo.
Okay.
So, let's go for present muna.
Okay.
Nandun yung empleyado na server mo.
Nandun sa nasa upuan niya.
So,
okay.
my recommendation is print out 2 copies. How many?
2
copies. Huwag niyong gagayahin yung estudyante ko dati.
Anong ginawa?
Attorney, na-serve ko na po yung notice to explain. Uy, very good.
Very
Sinunod mo yung sinabi ko. Nasaan yung receiving copy natin?
Ha?
Ano po yun? So, sinerve lang. Binigay lang niya. Sabi ko,
Walang prueba.
nakakalimutan mo yung pinaka-importante. So, we have to have a receiving copy. So, kailangan po dalawa yan. Isa yung ibibigay and then isa po yung i-retain for our copies. So, na-print mo na dalawa. Okay, so hawak mo na yung dalawa. Ready ka na bang lumabas ng HR department?
Hindi pa yata.
May isa pa akong tip.
Ano pa yan?
Dapat may bit-bit kang kasama. From HR.
From HR.
Oo. Kasi yun ang magiging testigo mo.
Meron din sinabi si Coach, di ba? Na parang
pwedeng-
karanggo.
Karanggo,
Yung
dalawa.
oo.
Kung mahanap mo yun,
Oo.
all the better. But for me, kung sakaling wala, okay na kahit taga-HR na lang.
Okay.
Basta't kailangan kakampi mo.
Mhm.
Okay, this will make sense later. Okay, so pagpunta mo doon, Mr. Employee,
Oh.
Mr. Miss Employee,
Yes po. Ano po yun?
I'd like to talk to you for a moment.
Bakit?
Ganito po. So I'd like to serve you with a copy of a notice to explain. Ito po. So ito pong notice to explain, basically, may mga nakasulat po dyan. It would be good if you can read it and then respond to it. That way, kung sakaling may misunderstanding po or may kulang or hindi naintindihan or mali, you can explain it and we can clear the record.
Okay.
So ito po, pakitanggap na lang po. Now, once you do that, dalawa po ang pwedeng mangyari.
Ano yung una?
Good acceptance or bad acceptance. Doon muna
Okay.
tayo sa good acceptance.
Good acceptance.
Okay, so good acceptance means sasabihin ng empleyado, okay po.
Sige po, akin na. May pipirmahan po ba ako?
Yes.
Yan.
Okay.
Okay.
Sige, tapos kunin mo
Ito
na
na po,
yung-
receiving copy.
Yes.
Yan. Okay.
That's good acceptance. Do we hope for that? Yes, we do. But in reality, does that happen all the time? No, it does not.
Okay.
Ano naman ang gagawin natin kapag bad acceptance? Diba? So, Mr. Employee, ito po pinapareceive. Ano ang mga pwedeng isagot ng empleyado?
Ay, ayoko po.
Ang gagawin ko naman
Masakit
doon,
po tiyan ko.
tatanungin ko, bakit po ayaw? So, there can be a lot of reasons na, hindi naman po totoo yan.
Okay, yan.
Or inaapi niyo ako or whatever. So the thing here is you should exercise empathy. Wag po din yung papatulan, wag din kayong magagalit. So the best thing to do here is to explain, Mr. Employee, actually, hindi po ibig sabihin kapag tinanggap po ninyo ito na inaamin ninyo na totoo. In fact, kung mali po yung interpretation or tingin nyo iba yung nangyari, all the more reason po na tanggapin ninyo. That way, para pwede po ninyong basahin at pwede po ninyong masagot ng maayos. Again,
Isa-isa. Oo.
hindi po ito pag-amin. Sinasabi lang po ng pirma ninyo na nakatanggap kayo ng kopya.
Nice.
Minsan may sasagot pa yan. Hindi, kukonsultuhin ko muna yung abogado ko.
Yun. Yan. Punta akong dole.
May sagot ako na maganda dyan.
Ano sagot dyan?
Ay, perfect po. Sir, para pagkausap niyo yung abogado ninyo,
Pakita niyo
may
na yan.
papakita niyo po itong
Yan.
papel para dire-diretso po yung usapan ninyo. Swabe.
I love it.
If swabe yun, pakitype naman sa chat box. Swabe.
Suabe.
Yan.
With a B or a B.
Oo, so may natutunan silang bagong sagot ngayon. Ano?
Ganda nun, Atty.
Oo.
Erwin.
Tapos, ganito ngayon. Minsan may matigas talaga eh.
Okay.
Ayoko, parang galit na galit sa'yo. Tapos minsan pare, yung papel, dudurugin pa sa harap mo. Yung iba pare, duduraan pa yung papel, galit na galit talaga. Yung iba, susunugin pa sa harap mo. Okay, so if that happens, don't panic. Kasi yung iba sa inyo nagpapanik hala, paano na to, hindi natanggap, hindi matutuloy. Guys, go back to the labor code. Actually, sa labor code, the moment na inoffer po ninyo yung papel, tapos na po yung responsibility ninyo under the labor code. Your only responsibility under the labor code is to serve. What they want to do with the paper after that, it's up to them. It's actually their right. Attorney, ayaw sagutin. That's their right. Hindi mo sila pwede i-compel to answer. Or, attorney, hindi binasa. That's their right. Your only job is to serve. Okay, ngayon, kung ayaw tanggapin, doon ngayon papasok yung bit-bit mo, naka-department mo.
Yun na.
Huwag kang kukuha ng nandun katabi. Sasabihin mo dun sa katabi, pare, liga dito, witness ka na refuse to receive. Kasi pag alis mo, mag-aaway yan. Sabihin nung na-serve, kala ko ba, kumpare kita. Di ba? Mag-aaway pa
Ka-lunch
yan.
pa naman niya yun.
That's why sinasabi ko, ka-department na lang. Para pag alis ninyo, takbo na rin kayo, bye. Di ba? So if ever they refuse to receive, you just note it down. Refuse to receive, you sign it, your witness signs it, you put the time, you put the date, and then you leave the copy doon sa empleyado. Whatever they want to do with that, that's their right. Okay? Now, scenario number 2 is kung wala yung empleyado, the only thing you have to do is send it to their last registered address. sa
Okay.
201 file. And the moment you do that, you're done. Tapos na po yung responsibilities ninyo under the labor code.
All right. Wow.
Okay? Whether matanggap yun or hindi, that's their lookout na.
Nice.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the next thing sa notice to explain na dapat pag-isipan, preventive suspension naman.
Okay.
Okay.
Pag kailangan.
Pag kailangan. Now,
Okay.
preventive suspension, it's not applicable for every situation. Guys, we have a full article on preventive suspension. You guys can go to www.legalguy.ph .ph and then just search preventive suspension. What you'll find there is a discussion na ang preventive suspension, it's just a band-aid. Hindi pa siya talagang yung parusa or penalty. Minimaintain lang niya na hindi magkagulo habang iniimbestiga. It's a maximum of 30 days and if you want to do it, you just send the preventive suspension notice. Now, kailangan, bago ka mag-preventive suspension, there has to be an immediate threat to persons or property. Hindi
Okay.
pwedeng dahil trip mo lang. If you
Okay.
want a further discussion on that, go to the article on our website.
Para mabilis.
Yes. Now, after that, may notice to explain, di ba? Usually ako, kinakargahan ko na yan ng invitation to an admin hearing.
Okay.
Ano naman po ang admin hearing? It's a meeting wherein sasabihan ninyo yung empleyado, may gusto ko pa po ba kayong idagdag or sabihin. Now, some tips. For some people, humahaba ang admin hearing. Sige nga, I want to see in the chat. Mga admin hearing ninyo, gaano
Gaano
katagal?
katagal?
Sige,
Okay.
gaano katagal?
Siguro yung pinakamatagal. Or average na lang. Average
Sige.
na lang. Average admin hearing.
Admin hearing.
Mga daming HR tayo dito.
Oo. Kala ko ba HR? High response. Wala pa ako nakikita sagot.
I think it's 1 hour.
1 hour. O, sige,
30
sige.
minutes, 2 hours. Yan.
Yan.
2 hours.
1
3.
hour.
Oh, may 3. Pinakapanalo yan. 2 weeks.
15 days.
Si Simon ang the best.
Oo.
2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
May 15 days.
1
Okay.
hour. Mahigit.
So guys, ganito. The admin hearing does not have to last that long. The only reason bakit humahaba yung admin hearing is pinagsasama kasi ninyo multiple steps into one.
Okay.
Remember parang hirap magturo nito, no? Parang network marketing, no? Kailangan magsulat ako nakabaliktad, no? So, pinagsasama kasi nila yung incident report, yung admin investigation, summary report, all into one. Dun sa admin hearing, dun pa lang kasi nag-iimbestiga yung ibang tao. Kaya po humahaba. I invite you to consider another way of looking at admin hearings. If you go back to the labor code, administrative hearings have for their purpose, it's there to give the employee another chance to present their side. It never said na dun ka mag-validate ng data, dun ka magtanong, dun ka mag-clarificatory questions. You can do that, but I don't think it's an efficient way of doing things. For me, kung may mga gusto kang i-validate, that should have been the job of the investigating portion.
Before yung NTE.
Oo eh. Bago ka pa mag-NTE, dapat yun na-validate mo na. And by the time na umabot tayo ng admin hearing, tinatanong mo na lang, may gusto pa po ba kayong idagdag? In fact, guys, the way I teach my clients, the way I teach my students, ang admin hearing po sa amin, if done properly, kasi we provide a specific script for doing it, that's fully legally compliant, comprehensive, lahat ng kailangan nandoon. Our admin hearings are 2 minutes or less, believe it or not.
It's fast.
That's fast.
Super fast.
If you stick to what the labor code provides. And that is, it's merely an opportunity for the employees to present their side. Most of the time, wala nang idadagdag yan. Kasi kung sakaling sumagot na yan via written explanation, pag tinanong mo, may idadagdag pa po ba kayo? Wala na po. Okay, so let's stop the meeting. So that's my input for admin investigation. Kung sakaling mahaba po masyadong admin investigation ninyo, I would urge you to reconsider implementing yung investigation portion. Ihiwalay po ninyo sa admin investigation or admin hearing. Magkakaiba po ng purpose yan. But again, that's just an invitation. You guys are welcome naman to, there are multiple ways to skin a cat. And if comfortable naman kayo with the way you guys are doing it right now, then no problem. As long as all of the legal requirements are met, I don't see a problem with that. Okay, now, ito naman po, may optional na, OMG, 2 minutes. Do you have a structure? Yes, we do. But that's that's for our students and workshop attendees. We'll give you details later on when how you guys can avail of that if ever. Now let's talk a little bit about resignation.
Okay.
Now there are some people kasi during investigation and during the violation proceedings, sinasabi, attorney, paano pag nag-resign yung empleyado? Or sabihin nila, boss, re-resign na lang po ako para
Para walang gulo.
Wala na lang pong gulo.
Mm.
What do you advise for that, attorney? My advice, before you go into talks for dropping the case in exchange for resignation, ilalabas ko muna yung NTE para hawak po ninyo yung baraha. Kasi there are some people na, boss, i-drop na lang po ninyo yung kaso, magre-resign na ako. Sige, no problem. Pasa mo na lang yung papel mo. 30 days later, pare, wala pa yung papel. Oh, nasaan yung papel mo? Sabi mo magre-resign ka. Nagbago po isip ko. Ipit ka ngayon, doon ka palang maglalabas ng NTE. Diba? So, I don't like that. So, for me, enter into resignation in lieu of a case after the NTE. That's safer for you guys. Now, let's go to category number 3, which is after violations. Now, after violations, natapos na lahat. Ano ang una man dapat gawin? It's deliberation. Kasi iipunin mo na ngayon lahat ng evidence. NTE, written explanation, lahat ng mga sinulat. And then pag-uusapan ngayon ng committee. Ano pare? Guilty, not guilty.
Okay.
You have to make a decision. Kasi kung guilty yan, you have to come out with a decision. If acquitted naman yan, you still have to come out with a decision para po maisara yung kaso dun sa 201 file ng empleyado. Okay? So, if you guys heard that correctly, can you please type in, make a decision? No choice po tayo dyan. Either acquit or guilty. Kailangan po may decision po talaga na lalabas dyan. Okay? Next is, kung ano man yung decision, ayan. Okay.
Dami.
So kung ano po yung decision na lumabas dun sa usapan. Thank you so much for those of you guys who wrote down in the chat, make a decision. That decision now has to appear in a written document.
Okay.
And we call it a notice of decision. Attorney, bakit ang tawag namin dyan? Notice of termination. Ang sasabihin ko naman sa inyo, bakit? Lahat ba ng decision, termination? Sobra naman kayo.
Just cause ba yun?
Huwag naman gano'n, di ba? Malay mo, yung decision, written reprimand.
Yes.
O kaya suspension. Di ba?
Demotion.
Demotion.
Meron tayong ano dyan.
Oy, ang dami dyang nagdududa kung pwede yung demotion. Guys, we would invite you. We created a whole video on demotion. You guys might want to check out our website for that. Na pwede pong gamitin ang demotion as one of the penalties. Okay. So, I call it a notice of decision, notice of penalty rather, because papalitan mo lang po yung word na penalty with whatever penalty you decide. So it's not appropriate to call it a notice of termination kasi hindi naman lahat ng decision termination. You just replace it, notice of penalty. And after that, eto na po, patapos na tayo sa whole disciplinary process, clearance and certification.
Okay.
Naku, Atty. Ramon,
Anong
alam
ibig
ko marami
sabihin?
ring away dyan eh. Sa sobrang daming away, ginawa natin ng video.
Oh, okay.
Diba? So please tune into our video as well. 3 big mistakes people make about a certificate of employment. Yan. So pag-usapan natin very quickly, clearance and certification. Okay, so ano po ba ang pinagkaiba ng dalawa? Clearance, sinasabi, wala ka ng utang. Cleared ka na. Good to go ka na. Fly and be free. That's clearance.
Clear.
Certificate of employment means parang resibo.
Okay.
Ibig sabihin nito, resibo na may transaksyon na naganap. Ano po yung transaksyon na naganap? Nagtrabaho ka para sa kumpanyang to.
Yun lang.
Yun lang.
Ganun kasimple.
Now, sinasabi kasi ng ibang mga tao, Atty. Ramon, masamang tao yung empleyadong yan. Hindi dapat bigyan ng certificate of clearance yan.
Oh.
So, here's a quick analogy na we discussed in our video as well. You're free to watch the whole video, but for purposes of discussion right now, mag-share kami ng kwento. So, kung kunwari, Atty. Ramon, kumain ka sa restaurant.
Okay.
Ano uli ang paborito mong pagkain ngayon?
Ngayon, steak.
Steak. Okay, so kung kunwari kumain ka na ng steak, nandiyan sa lamesa mo.
Yes, sir.
Tapos, hindi ka masyadong natuwa doon sa steak.
Okay.
Hilaw.
Ginawang well done.
Oo, gusto mo medyo madugo-dugo pa. You're fancy that way. So, question, kung hindi ka ba natuwa doon sa kinain mo?
Bagnit na. Alright.
Kung hindi ka ba natuwa doon sa kinain mo, does that mean na hindi ka magkakaresibo sa dulo?
Hindi. kinain ko eh. Binili ko eh.
Oo, binayaran mo.
Binayaran ko eh. Nangyari.
Oo. So, dependent ba yung resibo o yung OR kung natuwa ka sa pagkain or hindi?
Nope. Not at all.
Why? The receipt is evidence or memorialization of a transaction that happened. And that
Yes.
is, you ordered steak
Yes.
from this establishment, correct?
Yes.
So, whether masaya ka or hindi, you are entitled to that receipt, correct?
Correct.
In the same way po, ladies and gentlemen, hindi po dependent kung masaya kayo or hindi masaya sa performance ng empleyado. The certificate of employment is just a certification attesting to the fact na nagtrabaho yung empleyado sa kumpanya. Now, whether they did a good job or they did a fantastic job or a horrendous job, it's immaterial. Pinag-uusapan po kasi, nagtrabaho ba or hindi? Yes or no? Kung yes, ilabas na po ninyo yung certificate of employment. Does that make sense? I hope it does. If it makes sense, can you guys please type in "makes sense" in the chat box?
Sabi na.
I want to see that. I want to see that in the chat box.
Yan na. Si Ace. Ayan, Bernadette.
Si Facebook
Ivy.
user, napakasipag talaga nito si Facebook user.
Ang dami.
ano?
Joe Malinaw.
Ang dami nito si Facebook
Maria.
user eh. Ayan,
Matilda.
so we're very happy that you guys were able to find value in the framework that we just did. So ito po, may before violations, during violations, and after violations. Ang hirap ituro ng
Oo.
pabaliktad. Yeah. So now, guys, we covered a lot. And basically, if this was able to help you guys, you're very welcome. We're so happy na nakatulong kami sa inyo. But for some of you, basically, this will lead to more questions na, attorney,
Actually, during the maraming
oh,
questions.
parang attorney, parang how do we comply with due process? Or what documents do I need, attorney? Or how do I handle this process from start to finish? Attorney, parang mas marami pa ako ngayong tanong than when we started. If that's you guys, don't worry, hindi naman namin kayo ilalaglag. We have a solution for you. So what we would recommend for those people who have more questions is, why not get a copy of our book on which this map is designed? It's called The Complete Employee Discipline System. It's a book that teaches you how to keep your employees in line without getting in trouble with DOLE. Ayan, as Attorney Ramon is demonstrating, it's an elegant book, and in this book, actually, you guys will be learning a lot, such as you will be getting the ability to identify any bad habits or beliefs you have about discipline in the Philippine setting. You'll also be getting the 3 most important legal concepts you need to learn to win discipline cases with the NLRC. There is also a roadmap which shows you exactly where you are in the discipline process, and more importantly, what the next step is. Kasi for most of you guys, naliligaw, halala, ano na yung susunod? Ito na, may mapa na po kung ano yung susunod, ando na siya. Next is, we will give you the most important tool given by the labor code, so you can impose order in the workplace. So, sounds enticing.
Sounds
no?
cool.
We will also give you techniques on how to make policies that employees actually want to follow. May technique po kasi the way you write it. And we will teach you ways on how to document and how documentation can save you during cases. We'll also give you options when dealing with investigations of offenses. The legal documents that are required, we'll list them down for you and give you what to check for each of those. And we will also give you an orientation of what you should consider when deciding on the penalty. So, pati yung mga metrics na, sige, paano natin sasabihin kung ano yung appropriate na penalty, we'll give it to you. We have a list in the course. Does that sound good? Can you guys please type in? That sounds good to me, attorney.
Sounds good.
Ang dami actually nakukuha. And before this seminar, actually, nireview ko uli yung libro. Sabi ko, this is the perfect solution talaga, lalo na kapag baguhan. Or if you're a veteran and you just want to validate if you guys are
And Flores.
doing a good job when it comes to the book. Now, for some people, attorney, tinatamad ako magbasa ng libro. Di ba? Or parang, I'm not sure if I want to buy. Well, this isn't the only solution. Actually, pwede ka rin naman kumonsulta ng abogado. However, that might not be an option for most people. Unang-una, yung iba walang kilala. Or they don't have access. Or posible po kasi for some people, kinakabahan kumonsulta kasi may bayad na kagad. Si Demetro. Di ba? And, legal consultations can actually cost a lot depending on who you ask. Yung iba naman po, attorney, ayoko nang basahin yung libro. Pwede naman ako mag-workshop. Actually, pwede naman.
Yep.
Kaya lang for most people, medyo namamahalan po sa workshops. Some workshops, 4,000 to 8,000 discussing the same thing. And for some people, it's more of a time issue. Na wala na silang oras to...
Busy talaga sila.
Oo, eh. Now, yung iba naman tao, attorney, tinatamad ako magbasa. I'll just rely on the Batman doctrine.
Ano yung Batman doctrine?
Bahala na. Kung may kilala kayo na mahilig sa Batman doctrine, can you type in Batman in the chat box? Tignan natin. Pare, kung may
HR personnel.
Tignan natin kung may makaka-relate kay Batman doctrine. Diba? So, guys, for those of you guys who are considering other solutions, pwede naman. But the good news is, actually, if you guys opt for this solution, Attorney Ramon, our book is only priced at 350 pesos plus shipping right now. And you guys can get it at info.legalguide.ph/discipline. Again, that's info.legalguide.ph/discipline. And Attorney Ramon, I think it would be good for us to share some of the things that people who already bought the book had to say after reading the book.
Yeah, so this is from Art. Sabi ni Art, it's like carrying a multi-tool or SAK, wherein most of the things relating to HR, facts, guidelines, ideas, etc., that you need every day were squeezed in this book. This book will now be a part of my EDC or everyday carry.
Parang ginawang anting-anting, ano? Let's give Art a big hand.
Thank you, Art.
Thank you, Art.
Appreciate
Thank you,
Art.
I think meron din si Deborah.
This is from Deborah Ligon. The book gives me insights on proper handling of disciplinary cases and better understanding on employee rights.
Oh, we're so happy that we were able to help Deborah.
Thank you,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Deborah.
And let's have one more.
Yeah.
Si Jonathan Magsino, I got the copy of the complete employee discipline system. It's comprehensive like a map. How it is being described by Attorney Zag. It's handy and meaningful. To me, it's a map which will avoid me from getting lost. Great work, and thanks, Attorney.
Let's give Jonathan a hand.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Now, Attorney Ramon, unfortunately, we do have a slight problem.
Yep.
Okay, so for those of you guys from Philippine HR Group who already bought a copy, congratulations, and we hope you guys are happy with the copy. Now, if you guys are just about to order, the slight problem is, actually, naubusan na kami as of last week.
Friday.
Yeah, so if you guys are intending to get a copy, I would advise that you get it now kasi pasok kayo sa wait list. The next batch that will be coming in, I think only around 50 copies, no? Attorney Ramon?
Yep.
So if you guys are one of the first 50 people who sign up this afternoon, I can guarantee the 50 copies kasama po kayo. If ever lumagpas po kayo dun sa 50, I can't guarantee, and then sana wag naman po kayo magtampo, but again, it's subject to availability. And this isn't a joke. Totoo po na nagkaubusan kami. Wala na talaga. Nakaimpake na po yung last few batches.
May pangalan na.
For the people who ordered last week. So if you guys are intending to get a copy, first 50 to sign up right now, I can guarantee. Anyone beyond that, I will not be able to. Now, what happens, Attorney Ramon, if they sign up right now? I think there's a distinct advantage for people who sign up right now. Kasi guys, ito, right now, we are selling it at 350. Pero full disclosure, actually, dapat ngayon pa lang eh. Kasi nga naubos na yung batch namin and we're trying to raise funds for the second printing. So itataas na po namin yung price. However, itong si Miss Tina, napakalakas sa amin. Si Tina, nakiusap na.
Si Darwin.
Tsaka si Darwin. Sabi, Attorney, parang you'll be doing a show for our group. Baka naman po pwedeng just hold it off. Mapagbigyan lang po yung mga makikinig sa inyo and makakapag-order. One last chance. One
more chance.
One last chance to get it at the old price. Baka pwedeng mapakiusap. So, we can't hold it indefinitely. So, we came to a compromise. So, we talked to our marketing department and the marketing department agreed na for all Philippine HR group members who buy the book, pay for it actually. From now until Tuesday, you guys are still able to get it at the old price of 350. After that, pasensyahan po tayo. You guys have been warned. We will be increasing the price na talaga. And I think it's about, not yet approved, pero around 550 or more.
Yep.
Kasi nga, we're trying to raise funds for the second printing. kung sakali. Now, in addition, if you guys buy the book, what's nice about this is kanina pa ninyo nakikita tong mapa na iniikot-ikot ko. Oh, baka hinihintay ma-screenshot eh. No, no, no.
Screenshot.
I'll do something better. If you guys buy a copy of the book, there's actually a set of instructions here. I will be giving you guys a PDF copy of this. And what most of my students have done, ginagawa nila, piniprint out and then nilalaminate or piniframe sa office. That way, whenever a question comes up, they just have to look at it. And in fact, gustong-gusto ng HR to kasi parang anting-anting daw sa pasaway na empleyado. Pagpasok pa lang ng HR room, oh nako, ito na, may listahan na of what happens. And it tends to have an effect. Kasi it shows that you guys know what you're doing and you are well apprised as to the process. And another good thing is if they buy the book, actually, we get to include them in our weekly email list.
Yes.
So yung binibigay namin na material sa mga kliyente namin, sa students namin, you guys will be a part of that. So you don't get to miss out on goodies that we give out to our private students and clients. And finally, may dagdag pang bonus dun sa mga bibili.
May bonus pa?
Until Tuesday.
All right.
Not a lot of people know that we are producing a workshop version of this. And it includes bonuses, walkthroughs, may tutorials on how to do, especially the admin hearing. We will be teaching how to do the 2-minute admin hearing in that online workshop. And ang una kong bibigyan ng access, actually, yung mga bumili ng libro. So, if you buy the book by Tuesday, you will be getting the right of first availment. Oh, yeah.
Corporation code.
Very corporate. So, you guys will be getting the first dibs, the option to enroll in the workshop. And definitely, we will be offering you guys a different price versus those who just enroll pagtapos na. What that does kasi is it's our way of thanking you guys for the trust that you place in us kasi you already trusted us enough to buy the book. It's our way of saying thank you by giving you guys access to the workshop at a special price. So again, guys, first 50 who avail, you guys can go to info.legalguy.ph/discipline to click the checkout button and pay however you want. GCash, bank deposit, or pwedeng mag 7-Eleven, Palawan Express, Guilier, whatever floats your boat, we're able to accommodate that. So I guess that's it, Attorney Ramon. I think we can leave them with one more thing.
Okay.
What do you think?
Sige, Attorney.
Now, guys, once again, after hearing everything that we told you, I hope you guys now have a better appreciation that labor relations doesn't have to be scary. All it takes is the know-how. And once you understand how the process is, you're now able to participate in the game with joy and excitement rather than fear and confusion. And once you start doing that, it's our hope that you start loving your job as an HR practitioner more and you grow in your career. So wasn't that simple? Now go make better choices. Yay! Coach Tina and Coach Darwin, I think we're done.
Hello, attorneys. So, we are now on the part where we will be asking our audience if they have any questions for you. So for any questions for Attorney Ramon and Attorney Erwin, we encourage everyone to please ask your questions at the comment section, and we will be happy to provide answers and help Attorney Erwin, Zagala, Attorney Ramon Ramirez.
I just have two rules for the questions. Number one, yung questions po sana, I hope it's germane or relevant to the topic at hand. Kasi baka magtanong kayo bigla tungkol sa kontrata. Eh, wala namang kilalaman yan, di ba? Dito tayo kasi we want to keep the focus on the topic. Next is, kung sakali pong hindi ma-accommodate yung questions, you guys can actually go to the website. That's www.legalguy.ph. And there, we have a submit topic button. So kung hindi po ma-address this afternoon, submit it there. It will take you to our magical corkboard. May corkboard po kasi kami online. And yung mga questions po nandun, people can vote on the questions. Yung questions po na pinakamarami yung votes, those are the questions that we turn into episodes. So yun po, yung mga hindi po ma-accommodate this afternoon, you guys can always go to the website and post it. Ayan, so let's get to some questions.
Attorney
What
Erwin,
is
there's a question here. What is the
Ayan.
difference between an IR and NTE? An IR being incident report and NTE a notice to explain. Can they be one of the same or an organization composed of 7 people wherein the salaried store manager functions also as an HR? Or if the
Mhm.
one reporting to the incident or if the one reporting the incident is the same person who will be issuing the NTE. Sometimes it's confusing to apply prescribed procedure if it's not practicable to a situation. So basically, he or she has many questions here. The difference between an IR and NTE, and can the person, uh, since they are a small organization, can the person who gives the IR be the same person who issues the NTE, right?
Okay. So, thank you for that question. Nagamit ko rin yun. Okay. So the main difference between the two, an incident report and a notice to explain, is the purpose. What's the difference? Can you guys type it down? It's purpose. Okay. So what is the purpose for an IR? The IR is there to memorialize evidence. Basically, bago mo makalimutan kung ano yung nangyari, ito na, susulat ko na para hindi makalimutan.
Mhm.
What is the purpose for an NTE? The purpose for an NTE is to make an accusation.
Mhm.
Yun ang pinagkaiba noon. Kasi si IR, it's basically inert. Or on its own, actually wala. O ano ngayon, ginawaan mo ng IR.
Hmm.
Di ba? Yung ibang tao parang takot na takot
Factual
na.
lang.
Oo.
Parang ganun.
Di ba yung mga empleyado nagtatakot pa, gagawa ka ng IR ni boss. Eh ano ngayon? IR lang yan. It's just the starting point. As I said, it's the building blocks of your evidence.
Mhm.
But without doing anything with these building blocks, it's basically legally inert or walang gagalawan yan. Now, when you turn that information into actionable information in the form of an NTE. Basically, nilalagyan mo na ng direksyon yung information. Oh, dito sinasabi, binulsa mo raw yung sachet ng kape.
Mhm.
O ngayon, sa NTE, makukonvert natin yun ngayon into, binulsa mo raw yung sachet ng kape, which is a violation of our company handbook under pilferage
Yun.
and is therefore punishable by suspension. What say you?
Yun.
Are you guys getting the difference? So again, it's the purpose. Does it exclude each other? No, it actually helps each other. That's why in the framework that we just oriented you in, the incident report, it actually finds its way inside the NTE.
Yes.
Magkakampi po yan, pero magkaiba.
Okay, following that answer, attorney. Kasi usually a lot of, 'di ba, you issue a notice to explain. Ang problema ngayon is if the employee actually explains. For
Okay.
example, sinabi niyan, binigyan mo, bakit ka laging nalilate? Well, kasi may
Mm.
traffic. Bakit
Mhm.
napasok yung sachet ng kape sa ano? Ay, hindi ko alam kung paano napunta dun sa bag ko. There is an explanation to the notice to explain. So pag binabasa ng HR, they don't know how to proceed anymore kasi in-explain pero
Mhm.
parang nakalimutan, hindi niya alam paano nandyan sa bag, baka ibang tao ang naglagay. How would you
Mhm.
advise HR to proceed kung medyo yung explanation, medyo
Okay.
pagkapilosopo?
So, HRs, the message here is use your discretion. Hindi naman po kasi sinabi na kapag may explanation, lusot na.
Correct.
You still have to gauge the quality of the explanation. May saysay po ba? Justifiable po ba? Does it explain why they should be excused from the penalty? O bakit mo ninakaw yung item na yan? Kasi bibili ako cellphone eh.
Mm.
Or magde-date kami ni Mrs. eh. Tama ba sagot yun? So, even though there was an explanation in that case, it does not justify or it does not excuse the employee from the consequences of their action. So, use your discretion po. Magkaiba yung fact na submit ng explanation versus may saysay yung explanation. Attorney Ramon?
Yes, and I think that's where the on the third phase, yung after the violation, that's where the deliberation part comes in. No? Doon pag-uusapan yung weight nung sagot. Nung,
Like, For
Nung ano, nung
example,
employee.
neglect of duty, 'di ba? Bakit hindi
Mhm.
tama yung addition doon sa paggagawa ng payroll? Ay kasi hindi ko na double check, 'di ba? Or
Ayun.
Mm.
nakalimutan ko, careless lang.
Okay.
How would you proceed with that? Kasi napakasanay tayo sa mga rason na I forgot eh. I
Actually,
didn't
ako
double
simple
check.
lang. Simple lang ako dyan, Coach Tina. So, nakalimutan ko kasi. So, babalik lang ako sa tanong. Parang, was there negligence or not? Yes or no? Kasi nakalimutan ko lang. Oo nga.
Oo nga.
Was there negligence or not? Kasi pagod ako noon. Oo nga, wait. May negligence ba or wala? Hindi ko bibitawan yung basic fundamental question. And ganyan po kasi mag-isip ang abogado. And I think that's one trait that HR practitioners can pick up from the legal profession. You never let go of the fundamental question. Huwag po kayong maliligaw. Kumbaga sa korte, yan yung
Mm.
pinagsasabihan na na objection, relevance, your honor, walang relevance, walang kabit, di ba?
Hindi,
Mm.
konsiderasyon, attorney.
Konsiderasyon. So pag may konsiderasyon,
Mm.
bitawan na natin lahat. That's still irrelevant. So you never let go of the fundamental question. Huwag po kayo
Correct.
maliligaw.
So
Tama.
another question here, Attorney Ramon and Attorney Erwin. Is it necessary to distribute a company policy in written docs or verbal communication, such as during orientation will be enough? Because a lot of companies right now are saying that if we have like 500 employees, hindi naman lahat binibigyan niya ng employee handbook. So, po pwede ba na i-copy or like a copy of uh,
Naka-post.
post in their internal website? Diba?
Okay.
Will that be
Common
sufficient enough?
areas.
Mm-mm.
Actually, when we give workshops and we give consultations, nagugulat yung mga taong kausap namin. Kasi parang, attorney, what's your preferred manner of distribution?
Correct.
And alam niyo ba yung sagot ko?
Ako alam ko. Pero sige.
Sagot namin, wala akong pakialam kung paano nyo gagawin. The only thing I care about is kapag nagkagulo, can you give me enough proof na talagang binigyan ninyo?
Mm.
So the
The
way you
importance of that,
distribute
attorney, is really the sign off of the employee of his understanding.
possible, yes. So the only thing we care about is can you provide legal with evidence of the way it was distributed. Why? Ano yung inaagapan namin? We're trying to prevent the situation wherein sasabihin ng empleyado, ay, hindi naman ako sinabihan eh, or ay, hindi ko po alam yan. What evidence can you supply me? Kumbaga, ako yung gladiator mo eh, papunta sa arena, kami, legal. Ano ang pwede mong ibigay sa amin na panangga or bala? Para pwede naming atakihin yung position na yun. If you're not able to give us anything, you're basically sending us on a fool's errand. So sabihin mo sa akin, attorney, actually, pinagsabihan po namin yon over merienda. Totoo, naalala ko yun. Kinakain namin nung turun eh. Sinabi namin na ganito dapat yung gawin. Tatanggapin ba naman ng evidence yan? Give us legal people something that we can hold on to. So what can that be? Number one, written document na may signature. Yan ang favorite namin. Diba? Pagdating sa hearing, sasabihin namin, ay, ito po yung copy ng policy. Oh. May pirma ako nakikita rito sa baba. Can you recognize kung kaninong pirma to? Yan. Yan ang
the
favorite.
best.
Yan ang favorite namin. Other than that, pwede rin namang emails. As long as you could show that the email was sent, I think that's reasonable proof. Coach Darwin, you mentioned intranet or online posting. That's perfect. As long as siguro may acknowledgement that they were able to read, or at the very least may reply that they went through it, or there was a memo asking them to go through it. You made it their responsibility to take a look at the memos.
Agreed,
Could
agreed
you
with that.
remind us again about, di ba sa labor din kasi is they require postal with response. But a lot of people, especially living in the city, are bed spacers. It's not their permanent address.
Okay.
How can HR respond to that?
So for memos, for policies,
For
for
termination, notice of termination na
no, wait.
ipapadala mo
Wait,
na.
medyo magkaiba kasi treatment ko dyan.
Correct.
So I'll make two categories.
Correct.
First category is for mga policies. I don't think there is a specific need to send each person a policy na
Correct.
ganito. O guys, yung cafeteria raw 11:45 na mag-open versus 12 o'clock. Isipin mo lahat yun ipapadala mo. Mapapagod na kakabila
Circular
na
ka,
sila. No need for those. Tingin ko those can be sent out via e-methods. Yung iba nga Viber pa eh. But for me, Viber and Messenger, it's too informal. I'd rather na may formal way kayo talaga of disseminating that. However, for disciplinary processes like notice to explain, notice of termination, yan, medyo mahigpit tayo dyan. Ang pinaka-basic would be registered mail. For the most part, that's already okay. However, I do have a problem with the registered mail in terms of evidence whether it was received. So kapag
Yeah.
alam kong very important yung kaso, I try to do both. Registered mail with private courier. Why? I like the fact na may tracking number. Huling-huli ko kung ni-refuse to receive ba or nakatanggap ba, di ba? You can always show it to the NLRC kung sakaling, God forbid, di ba? Knock on wood na maging kaso. Registered mail, meron naman, but from my experience, it tends to be slower. Mas mahirap na konti i-request. So, ang
Tsaka
advice ko sa
may mail na bumabalik kasi walang nagre-receive daw. Or
true.
lumipat na yung tao.
Pero guys, real talk. Puhunan mo dyan, Diyos ko, 100 piso. Di ba? Kung kunwari magsisend ka para private courier, titipidin mo pa ba yan? Di ba? So, for me, just do both.
Yeah.
It makes your life
But also,
easier.
Erwin, we also have to acknowledge, though, that there is a gap in the current law when it comes to that, because the law entails that it needs to be sent via registered mail. Hindi naman kasi siya nung time na ginawa yung yung provisions na yon, hindi pa uso ang
Yes.
courier.
Ang
So like
Mhm.
hindi talaga yung ginagay.
Yeah.
That's the reason why it best practice for HR to also send it via registered mail, but also ensure that it's sent through a private carrier.
Actually, coach, ako, nilalagyan ko pa na third layer, email.
Email,
Ngayon.
correct.
Okay.
So
Another
HR,
question
take
here
the
from
take the opportunity. Sulitin ninyo yung sweldong pinapasweldo sa inyo, di ba? 3 ipadala ninyo para pwede niyo ipakita, di ba? O ang daming ginawa ng HR.
another question here, attorneys. Can I as an HR not sign the termination letter if I'm not inagreeable with the decision of the COO or child of the owner? CEO wants me to sign since I am the HR. So basically, the HR does not want,
To put
is
her
not agreeing
signature.
with the decision of the employer or of management. What would be
That's
the
not
recourse of this attorney?
Sure. That's not actually a legal question. That's an operational question. And it's a business question. Because it's not required under the labor code na, dapat yung HR head ang naka-ano dyan. Or
Correct.
ano. It actually never designated anyone. All that the law requires is that it's a valid document issued on behalf of management. And that is open to a lot of interpretation. Sino ba yun? Immediate superior? Would that be the board of directors, di ba? Or the COO or the HR manager. So if you are the one asking this question, my recommendation is why not take it up with the COO, if ever, and then let your objections be known. Kung
I have an
sakali,
experience with this attorney way back when I was starting. I had a discussion with one of the managers in operations, and they wanted me to terminate someone in their team, and I said I cannot terminate because of two things. Because of my conscience, and also it's not in line with the labor law. And that person keeps on insisting that the business requires a person to be terminated. I told the operations manager, then sign the termination letter, not me.
Yes.
ayun. So pwede naman po pag-usapan. That's the point. It's not required to be you. And if you find it objectionable, wala pong hindi nadadala sa usapan.
Actually, yeah, I was about to say, I think integrity comes into play here. Now, if matatamaan yung integrity nyo by putting your, by you being forced to sign something that you do not feel you should sign, then that's really something you should take up with your superiors as well. No? Ako, I would never sign something that I don't feel right about. So, and that's just me. That's not legal advice. Well, to a certain extent, it is, but it's more of how to go about the world.
No one
advice.
can force you to sign something you're not agreeable with.
Mm.
So the next question is the e-signature of the employee considered as a valid signature? Lalo na for example mga resignation letters, right? Kasi there are cases din na nagpapadala si employee ng resignation letter. Later on, sinabi terminated kasi daw hindi daw galing sa kanya yung resignation. Kasi it's just sent via email. 'Di ba? Tapos
Assuming
marami
that
pang
the
mga email.
e-signature is
Correct. And then
assuming that
there's
the
no
e-signature is
signature.
valid, I would have no problems with that. Pero guys, please take note there are requirements for e-signatures to be valid under the
Ayun.
law. I,
What
I
are the
won't get into it
requirements?
right now.
Okay, okay.
I won't get into it right now. Medyo ibang episode yan.
Yeah,
So,
it's definitely different from a PDF na kina-cut and paste nyo
Oo.
lang on iba yung concept ng e-signature sa ano, no?
so
It's
if
not
you
yung
get
simple PDF lang.
So if you get a blank, if you get a resignation letter nakasulat signed by yung employee name, pero walang signature per se, hindi siya PDF, it's just a Word document, is that a legitimate resignation letter or not?
It's a good start, pero I wouldn't place all of my bets
Correct.
under
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, kasi like
So I
if
would rather have
in-email
the
sa'yo,
employees scan the
in-email
resignation
sa'yo
letter,
galing
sign it.
Kasi may
uh,
mga resignation letter, walang signature, pangalan lang eh, di ba?
That's true.
Tapos
It's
pinapadala,
something
lalo na ngayon.
definitely it's something nice to have kaysa wala.
mhm.
Pero hindi pa yun yung level of proof that I would be comfortable
Yeah.
with at this point.
Attorney,
Alright.
another interesting question here. At madalas tong tinatanong sa Philippine HR Group. Do
Hmm.
we need to indicate if an employee was dismissed or AWOL sa COE?
Or can we indicate, o yun na lang, can we indicate if the employee went AWOL?
Actually, sumakit yung daliri ko. Kakasagot ng tanong na yan dyan sa Philippine HR Group. Nakailan na rin ako dyan eh. So let me offer some insights. Okay. So again, si Certificate of Employment, anong tawag natin doon kanina? Can you type it in? Yung kinain ni Atty. Ramon, di ba? Can you guys type it in? It starts with an R. The Certificate of Employment is considered parang resibo. Okay? So it's just an attestation that someone was employed. Now, there is nothing under the labor code which obligates you or prevents you from putting whatever you want there. So there is a spectrum of options na pwedeng ilagay dyan. In one of the videos that we did, paki-search na lang na Certificate of Employment, we suggested three ways of doing it. One is, uy, ito na naman.
Mm.
Too soft,
Mhm.
too hard, and then in the middle.
Tama.
Ano yung too soft? Kunwari, ninakawang ka na't lahat. Wala ka man lang ilalagay na indicator. Pwede rin naman yun. Kaya lang, the problem I have with that is kawawa naman yung mga pagpapasukan ng empleyadong to.
Mhm.
'Di ba? Na parang, hala, wala ba nang ka-warning na winalang hiya kami dito, 'di ba? So if that's something against your beliefs, well, something to consider. Pwede rin naman na wala kang i-indicate. On the other hand, pwede rin naman masyado kang malupit.
Mm.
Correct.
May hugot. Sabi mo siguro sa sarili mo, ito na yung pagkakataon ko makabawi sa loko-lokong to, di ba? So dun sa Certificate of Employment, sinulat mo pa magkano ang ninakaw or ilan yung sexually hinaras ng taong to, di ba? But the end effect is basically ito mahihirapan ng makahanap ng trabaho to. Effectively, you've already shut off any employment opportunities for this person. So for me, one way of mitigating that is you can always put in the certificate of employment kasi na this person was employed by this company. However, kunwari wala pang clearance, he has not yet completed his clearance process. Or you may, for details, you can get in touch with with
With
HR.
number.
Oh, so for me, that's a reasonable trade-off. The hard thing about this kasi is wala kasi talagang hard and fast rule kung ano yung nakasulat. The only thing that the law says about certificate of employment, sabihin mo kung nagtrabaho or hindi. Anything else, it's management prerogative. At least
All
that's
right.
how I interpret it.
We have a question with Maria Graciana. Very interesting. She says, like, after the admin hearing, at di naman lang nag-resign si employee. Kasi ayaw ng HR, gusto nila mag-iwas na mag-terminate outright. Yung they're very afraid to actually issue that notice of decision, that final nail to the coffin that says a employee is terminated, how will they be able to proceed? Kasi ang gusto sana ng management, mag-resign na lang yung employee para tapos na.
Okay, so that's always preferable. Pero one thing, Maria, no? Maria? So,
Yes.
Maria, hi. Ano, mag-hi ka naman sa amin sa chat box kung nandiyan ka, Maria. So, Maria, one thing you have to be, I wanted to point out two things. Even if management wants the employee to resign, there is such a thing as ano kasi forced resignation, and
Mm,
it's bad.
That's
Oh,
bad,
that's
guys.
bad. Don't do that. Kasi that is tantamount to constructive dismissal. Tatamaan kayo dyan pagdating sa ano sa NLRC. So what is forced resignation? Sasabihin mo yung empleyado na, "Psst, mag-resign ka na lang." Parang ano parang basically you make them feel as if wala nang options or medyo gigipitin ninyo papunta doon. That can be taken against the company. We don't want that. We never recommend that. However, in our workshops, we run through simulations. Tinuturuan namin yung mga HR on how to bring the topic up as one of the options. Pero you never force it on the employee.
correct.
So let me leave it here. You can bring it up as one of the options if you are able to verbalize it in such a way na walang palitan. But if you choose this option, these are the things that can happen. If you choose to go through with the case, these are the things that can happen. There's no law preventing you from explaining the different scenarios. But again, you never force employees under disciplinary processes to resign.
Correct.
I'll
Attorney,
leave it
in
at
my
that.
in my experience, what I normally do is I never advise HR people to actually tell the person or the employee to resign. But what I do is, I use my card with their immediate managers and leaders, so that these immediate managers and leaders will be the one to
Oh,
discuss
yeah.
the options that employees would have.
All
I,
right.
I agree with that. That's another option. I like that. But
We
again,
haven't
yung ending po dapat na takeaway ninyo, you never force employees to resign. Bawal po yan. That's bad.
okay. We
That's
have
bad.
another question by Vanessa. Is it necessary to send a second NTE sa employee if hindi daw niya natanggap yung first notice? Case is a wall. Okay? I just want to ask if she just wants to ask if it's necessary to send a
No,
second
it's not.
NTE.
No, it's not. Your obligation under the law is fully satisfied by sending out the first notice. Kung sakaling ako naman yung legal, nakausap mo for that, all I have to make sure is, sandali, maayos ba yung address talaga? Maayos yung resibo? Maayos bang napadala? If those are checked off on the checklist, then I think we're good to go. However, tama rin si Vanessa it can be a good practice kasi pagdating sa labor law, wala naman pong masama sa sobra. It's actually preferable na sobra kaysa kulang.
And
So,
yeah, and kung ako si labor arbiter, 'di ba, nakasuhan na, let's say termination, ek. And then I see that the NTE was sent twice. See,
Mm.
who do you think yung mas mapapaboran ko, 'di
mhm.
ba? Yung employer ba o yung ano? Obviously nabigyan ng maraming chance, 'di ba?
Mhm.
I can see that the company wanted to really follow the due process rules, no?
Oo.
So plus points 'yun pag nagpadala ng pangalawa. But again, it's not required.
May timeline po ba ang implementation from incident report to notice of decision?
There's no specific timeline. However, what I can say about it is the more time that lapses between the incident and the time you give the notice to explain, the further that your credibility degrades.
Justice, anong tawag doon, attorney? Justice delayed is justice denied.
Actually, gusto ko magpagawa ng sticker niyan sa kotse. No? Pag pang-abogado, justice delayed is justice denied. Di ba? Para walang harang, dire-diretso. But for IR purposes, yun nga Parang, guys, imagine this. Nagkanakawan daw kuno sa pantry. Tapos kakasuhan mo 9 months later. How credible is that? So
After
credibility mo yung
nagdole.
bumababa. Oo.
After
Huwag
ka
naman
na sina.
ganun. Oo. So
So,
yun, the way we teach it, the sooner the better, definitely.
So the servicing of NTE, ito kasi may nagtanong eh. Is there a difference in the number of days in serving NTE for major and minor violations? Thank you.
NTE is NTE. So that's it.
So as soon as possible, right? Correct. Tapos
Okay,
may
so I think
nagtatanong, is there a difference between an admin hearing lalo na if there is a union or if the company is organized?
Well, if the company is organized, most definitely a union representative should be
will be
present
ideal.
during an administrative investigation. That's the major difference between the two.
And they're also
Mm,
involved in making decisions, diba, Atty?
Actually, I've had some students and clients who are on the side of the labor union, and I always leave them with this thought. Actually, ang labor union hindi po kalaban ng
Correct.
management pagdating sa disciplinary process. You guys are supposed to be helping each other in keeping the employees and the management in line. So, wag po ninyong i-treat as if parang magkatunggali po kayo or magkalaban. You guys should be helping each other. There is a way of doing that peaceably naman. Ayun. So, I leave that thought. Kasi for most people, iniisip kapag may union, kapag may management, naku, parang opposing counsel yan sa korte. Doesn't have to be that way. I've seen a lot of labor union representatives who did a fantastic job. Imbis na uminit yung ulo ng management,
correct.
actually nakita nila na, oh, the union is cooperating, na actually bago pa dumating yung empleyado doon, napagsabihan na ng union, so the employee was cooperative, naiintindihan nila what's happening, and they're willing to cooperate with regard to reparations or the disciplinary process. So yun po, wag tayong magkaroon ng misconception na magkaaway po yan. They're not.
Mm.
I think
So
last question,
go ahead,
Tina.
coach.
Last question would be, in our case, our HR who served the NTE and OD executes an affidavit of service indicating that he served the NTE and OD but was not received by the hearing employees. Is it okay po and valid?
Ang masasabi ko po dyan, para pong handaan yan. Mas mabuti na po ang sobra kaysa kulang. So, that's definitely good.
But am I clear sa question? Nagsinungaling yung HR?
Ay, oo nga.
Nag-execute siya ng affidavit of service pero hindi talaga na-receive?
Ay, wait, nagsinungaling ba?
Parang ganun ang dating sa akin eh. Indicating that he served the NTE but was not received by the airing employee. Kasi di ba affidavit of service is issued by...
Wait. Sinner, baka possible na minil.
Because, yeah, actually, my understanding also is there's a possibility that it was served through mail.
Mr. or Miss
It will be
Facebook user,
impossible
baka
for
pwedeng
someone
pakilinaw
to
po.
serve in
Nakagulo kami
Yan
rito.
ang nakatakot eh, correct, yeah. Yung mga tanong
So-
na ganyan, that's how we get into trouble.
So for me, kung sakaling affidavit of service, saying that the HR mailed it, no problem, I love that.
Ayan,
However,
it's a good.
if you are going to claim na hindi, pumunta po ako ng bahay, natanggap po, when in fact, no, no tayo dun. Definitely.
Additional document lang daw po.
Okay. So,
Na nag-mail.
so tama yung una mo sagot.
Na nag-mail. Parang dahandaan doctrine will apply.
Kasi di ba, attorney, it's very impossible naman to serve the document without a receiving copy. So most probably it was mailed. So again, attorneys, we would like to
Last
encourage you to please invite our audience and listeners. I'm sure a lot of them will be happy to reach out to you. How can our audience reach out to you, attorney? Also buy your books and attend your
Yes.
seminars.
So the easiest way to get in touch with us is via our website. That's our online home. It's at www.legalguide.ph. Everything you need to know is there. If you want some freebies, meron ba mahilig sa freebies dito? If you guys like freebies, would you like me to give you a secret URL? Please type down freebies in the chat box.
Secret URL?
Yes, there's a secret URL which we give to friends and students. Ngayon, lahat sila dumaan na sa atin. So
friends na rin.
Friends na rin sila, and I can treat them as students. You guys can go to
Ayan, si Vanessa.
info.legalguide.ph/ask. That's ASK. And there on that page, marami kaming freebies na mga libro at saka links to the different workshops, articles, books, and videos that we have on offer. I hope you guys go there and pick up whatever is useful for you guys.
And we also have a weekly show.
And we also have a weekly show that's on our Facebook page and YouTube page and
Spotify.
Spotify. And oh, by the way, guys, we will be airing every Saturday at 3:30 p.m. under Light TV digital channel.
Hmm.
So you guys will get to see us sa mga Digibox. That's legal guide at PH.
Sa akin, as my last word is that it's very important for HRs to understand the nuances of termination. Lalo na
Mhm.
sa PHRG kasi, a lot of people are just commenting. Pero hindi nila naiintindihan yung essence of the rule. You really have to read through different sources and understand the meaning of due process, how to discipline a person. Hindi naman palagi iniisip ninyo 'pag nagdi-discipline tayo, nagte-terminate tayo palagi. Actually, karamihan naman hindi naman umaabot sa termination, eh, 'di ba? There's a
Hmm.
multiple step pa usually bago makarating tayo sa paraan na yon. And I think both attorneys have emphasized nga that it's very important to have a balance. My take on it is, dapat if you're an HR, ang tanong mo sa sarili mo is, what do your employees think of you, right? How do they see you in the department? Kasi if they're thinking na masyado kang matapang, masungit, and unfair, then that will already cloud their judgment. But if most of the way you handle the HR or your people is fair, very rational,
Mm.
may bait, pero may pagka-firm, this type of good faith that you have earned throughout the years will be helpful later on when you terminate. Kasi hindi sasabihin ng buong "Ay ganyan naman talagang HR, lagi namang pabor kay management, eh." That's a very bad thing to have when your employees don't trust you. So I think with employee discipline, it's very important for the HR head or the department to actually set a reputation na fair sila from the very beginning pa lang. Para pagdating ng huli, 'pag magtatanggal kayo ng tao, actually sa totoo lang, kampi pa lahat ng empleyado sa'yo. Kasi alam nila na getting rid of this person who doesn't deserve to be there is pro-company for everybody to the fairness of all. Kasi for example, if yung tao matigas ng ulo, pasaway, hindi na nag-follow ng rules, hindi sumisipot sa trabaho, tapos yung trabaho naiiwan sa mga kasama niya. 'Di ba? Tapos nakikita nila nag-argue pa yung tao. Sometimes actually I think the best people to help the HR department are the employees themselves. Let us not undermine the way they influence others as well. Kasi if it's just HR department who is disciplining, ang hirap mag-discipline ng isang kumpanya. But if all the employees in the company are with the HR, because alam nila tama naman yung ginagawa ng HR, tama naman na lagi may tamang proseso, may papel, then it becomes easier talaga to discipline an employee kasi alam ng tao, hindi naman magpapadala si HR ng incident report or notice to explain na kulang-kulang. Right? Pero at the same time, 'pag nagbibigay si HR ng IR or NTE na kulang-kulang palagi, ayan, madali ka talagang mahuli. Pagbigay mo pa lang 'yan, may lusot na agad. So please make sure sa beginning pa lang, very first, do your job. Make sure it is always complete, detail-oriented, and do it with a heart. Don't always terminate. May suspension naman, di ba? Yun nga yung, there is suspension, okay? There are many different ways to discipline. You can talk to the person, right? Kasi so, that way, alam ng tao, pag tinerminate mo yung tao, sobrang pangit na talaga. That person is really unacceptable inside the organization. And you will have support because terminating an employee does not end when you send a notice of decision. It ends when everybody actually accepts that that decision was fair. 'Di ba? Kasi 'pag nagno-notice of decision ka, sabi mo ta-terminate mo 'to tapos lahat ng tao nag-resign. O edi ang dami mo ng problema. But if everybody believes that the decision was fair and rational and done in good faith, then when that person is removed, everybody's relieved. Kasi ay nako parang gumaan na yung yung air namin sa factory kasi they're also on your side. It's not always employee versus employer. You're actually both on the same side because it is the company that feeds all. Coach Darwin, last words from you?
Agree. Year on year, the data of NLRC and DOLE shows that billions and billions are being spent by companies just to pay off labor cases. And one thing that HR should understand, we are not lawyers. For us to
Yes.
be able to really effectively and efficiently mitigate risk is to partner with your labor consultants, with your labor lawyers, as you start the cases, uh,
Mm.
especially critical cases that will be business impacting. A lot of a lot of cases kasi ang nangyayari, nagko-consult lang kayo sa lawyers pag position paper na.
Ay.
Natatalo na kayo kagad kasi
Ay.
dapat ang pagko-consult sa lawyer within the span na tumatakbo at ini-investigate yung kaso. Hindi po dapat nilalagay ang responsibilidad ng pag-aayos ng kaso sa mga lawyers at the end stage. Hindi lang kasi, paano sila magsusulat ng napakamaayos na position paper kung di naman sila na-involved throughout the case. So
Mm.
my guide to our HR is please work with your uh, partner
Lawyer.
law firms, work with your labor lawyers and also consultants to ensure that you make not only the right decision but also the ethical decisions whenever you're handling critical cases in HR or in your organization. So again, maraming salamat po sa pagsubaybay ng HR Cafe. You can always watch the review, the, this
Replay.
episode at the HR Cafe FB page, and also it will be posted for 1 week at the Philippines HR Group. I'm sure a lot of people, yung mga team replay natin, makakapanood ulit nitong episode na to at maraming silang matututunan. Maraming salamat po, Atty. Erwin Zagala and Atty. Ramon Ramirez.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much
Thank
and see you
you.
again next week on the next HR Cafe.
Sunday, 3 p.m. See you next week. Okay,